It's time for Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. For the next 3 hours, it's high school basketball from across the Mountain State. Live from Marshall University, here's your host, Ryan Epling.
And we welcome you to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Postseason play is well upon us, and we are beginning the road to Charleston. Girls basketball sectional play. Many of those games wrapping up tonight. By the end of the night, we expect to know most, if not all, of the matchups that will be played next week for berths in Charleston. Meanwhile, boys basketball coming down the home stretch as well. They start postseason play up here in the next day or so. Also, the seeding's already released for sectional play. They'll be full swing into that next week. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is well into the madness, even though March is still 2 days away. Ryan Epling along with Rick Marone and Joe Linville kind enough to join us tonight. James Collier is in Columbia, South Carolina with Marshall softball. We'll have him a little bit later on tonight as well. But guys, before we get into our first scoreboard, and we'll go through it kind of a rough scoreboard of the girls sectional finals that were played tonight across the state of West Virginia. Before we get into all of that, Coach Marone, this is a fun time of year. It's a stressful time of year. It's kind of the culmination of the entire year, the calendar year of work toward this time of year for coaches, players alike. And sometimes we lose sight of the fact this is actually the most fun time of year.
Yeah, it's what all these teams have worked for. And starting back in November, everybody had a goal to try and advance in the tournament. And, of course, the sectional is the first step in that journey. And I tell you what, as you think about sectionals now, everybody that's playing tonight is still going to be playing next week. When you're in a sectional final with the new format, both winner and runner-up will advance to the next level. And so the biggest thing that's going to come out of tonight is teams that are going to get themselves a home game next week. The losers in the sectional have to go on the road and play the winner of the other section that's in their region. And, Joe, I tell you, there's a lot of great matchups tonight, but there's a big advantage to be able to play in a regional final on your home court as opposed to having to travel. I know both teams are going to be happy to move on, but when you go in with momentum as a sectional champion, I think it's definitely a leg up.
Yeah, when you lose, you lose your confidence, and that's a struggle to overcome. I've seen it for years, and when you're playing well, you're winning games, your confidence level is up, and it's tough to go on the road after losing a game and know it's do or die time.
And again, we know that some of these scores are going to continue to come in through the night. Most of them are final. And once we get you these scores, we will also go ahead and set up the regional matchups for you coming up. Right now, our first check of the basketballnight.com scoreboard. If you are looking for scores, look no more. Visit basketballnight.com. We're going to be a little bit haphazard here, not haphazard because that sounds bad. But we're going to be a little bit jumping between classes, but I'll keep you straightened up on this. We'll start tonight in Class AAA, Region 3, Section 1 Championship, Girls Basketball. South Charleston defeats Cabell 52-33. That means South Charleston will be at home in a Region 3 tournament playing game. Cabell will be on the road. Also tonight in Class AAA, Girls Basketball, still waiting on a final score for Greenbrier East and Princeton. They were playing tonight after a boys game. That was at 4 o'clock down in Lewisburg. Also tonight, Class AAA Region 3, Region 2, Section 1 championship game. Martinsburg defeats Jefferson 43-41. So the Bulldogs will be at home next week to host a state tournament playing game. Jefferson will be on the road. Also Class AAA Region 2, Section 2, Buchanan Upshur beats Hampshire 39-38. Two great ball games in that region. So again, next week, big games there for playing games. It will be Hampshire at Martinsburg, and Jefferson will make the long trip to Weston to take on Buchanan Upshur. Or to Buchanan, not Weston, Buchanan, there we go. Anyway, moving on tonight, also Class AAA Region 4, Section 1, St. Albans defeats Hurricane 49-43. The Lady Dragons will be home against Huntington. Spring Valley beats Huntington in the AAA Region 4 Section 2 title game 75-51. Lady Wolves playing their best basketball. They got a little bit of an influx of a player coming back that they didn't necessarily think was going to happen. So Spring Valley will play host to Hurricane next week. Huntington will go to St. Albans. Also in Class AAA, Parkersburg South in Region 1, Section 1 defeats Parkersburg tonight, 59-46. The Lady Patriots will be at home next week. The Big Reds will go on the road. Now moving into Class AA, Region 2, Section 2 Championship, Lincoln defeats Bridgeport 50-31. So the Cougars will be at home. Bridgeport will be on the road next week. Class AA, moving on to Region 2, Section 1. It was Kaiser defeating Frankfort in the Mineral County Showdown, 56-42. The Tornado gets the win, so it's Bridgeport at Kaiser. We've seen that before in multiple sports recently. And Frankfort will go to Lincoln for Class AA tournament playing games. Also Class AA, Region 4, Section 2, Mingo Central defeats Scott 61-45. The Miners will play at home for a berth in Charleston. Scott will go to Clay County tonight, next week. Clay County tonight, a winner over Sissonville in Class AA action. Also tonight, moving on down the scoreboard, the Region 1, Section 1 Championship. Fairmont Senior defeats North Marion 78-52. Anybody playing better than the Polar Bears right now? They're beating everyone pretty bad. So they will be at home. North Marion will go on the road in Class AA Region 1 tournament action next week. Single A now. Region 2, Section 1 champions, Tucker County. The Mountain Lions defeat Notre Dame out of Clarksburg 54-28. So Tucker County will be playing a home game. Notre Dame will be on the road. They will play Pocahontas County, Pendleton County. That game scheduled for tonight. We're working to get a score on that one. Class A Region 4 Section 2 final. St. Joe, 6-time defending state champion, defeats Charleston Catholic 62-28 tonight. So St. Joe will be at home, Charleston Catholic on the road in a regional playing game. Region 3 Section 2 Championship girls basketball. Fayetteville beats Midland Trail 65-47. So the Pirates will be at home. The Lady Patriots will go on the road next week. Class A Region 1 Section 1 Championship. Wheeling Central 57, Magnolia 40. So again, Wheeling Central at home, Magnolia on the road next week. And Class A Region 4 Section 1, Williamstown beats Gilmer County 67-54. That means Gilmer County will travel to St. Joe next week, while Williamstown will host Charleston Catholic. And that is your look at the girls' scoreboard for sectional tournament play on basketballnight.com. A lot going on there tonight, guys.
Yeah, you rolled right through that pretty well. A lot of scores coming in fast and furious, and just a couple of things that jump out at us here early, Ryan. You mentioned Spring Valley. I tell you what, to go on the road, and Joe, they go into Logan Wednesday night and beat a very good Logan team on their home court. Ends Shayna Gore's career, a couple other seniors. Logan really looking to make a big run. They had that tournament at home, but I really think the reemergence. Maddie Morris came back about a week prior to, had a big game against Logan, and boy, they rolled over Huntington tonight. So you talk about a team really with momentum going into the playoffs in AAA. Spring Valley team to watch.
That's a heck of a place to play. That's a nice venue, that auditorium there in Logan over on Middleburg Island.
Yeah, they were able to go in there and beat Logan the other night. And Coach Marone, you were talking about Maddie Morris coming back. She had the broken left hand. She's a right-handed player. And when that first happened, I think everyone may have kind of jumped the gun, and maybe even Bo Miller and Cook going, oh, no, we lost her for the season again. But she worked really hard to get back. She was able to play last Saturday in a regular season game, kind of get feet back under her a little bit. And then in what, my opinion, in the seeding era, may have been the best girls basketball matchup in a sectional opening round game. Spring Valley beats Logan, and Madison Morris had 25 points in that, and that was enough to overcome 35 from Logan Shayna Gore.
Yeah, I tell you what, those seniors for Spring Valley got a little taste of tournament play, and that was actually ended by Logan in a semifinal game year before last in Charleston. They've really worked to get back. Spring Valley got upset in the sectional last year by Cabell Midland. They've been a very focused group, and as you mentioned, the hand injury actually happened in the game with Logan earlier this year, and there were doubts about her coming back. She kept herself in shape. It was her non-shooting hand. They did lose the MSAC third-place game to St. Albans, but it was a very high-scoring affair. She was getting her feet back under her, and, boy, she really broke loose here in this sectional tournament and claims a big-time championship. They'll now get to host Hurricane, a team that they'd have to be favored at going into that regional final.
Well, one more score just in. Greenbrier East defeats Princeton 59-39 in that girls sectional. So that regional is now lined up in Class AAA. And, again, we'll get all those matchups to you in a little bit better form here as the night goes along. But still just an incredible time of year and one that we definitely enjoy. Let's go to the phones right now. Chad Richards, WSPW, is with us. He was at the Parkersburg South Brook game. Has some information on that one from earlier this week. Chad, welcome to the program.
Hey, it's nice to be back on. I was at the Parkersburg South Brook, and definitely an interesting game. Parkersburg South won that one, and wow, they won it in a landslide. It was, I think, definitely the one thing that key to the game that helped South win was Brooke County High School had a lot of turnovers during that game. I'll see if I had it right here. They had around 45 turnovers the whole game.
Well, that's definitely tough to be successful with that many turnovers, and I know coaches love to see that number forced, not necessarily when they're the ones who are committing them. But Parkersburg South defensively very good, and obviously they were able to take advantage of some matchups there against Brooke.
Yeah, and some scores from the game, we had a lot of them, but the two I want to point out are Caitlin Bird had 16, and Tia Bartlett only had 5. Maybe this was kind of an off night for Bartlett, but definitely the two we might want to watch out for as we come up more into postseason gameplay is Caitlin Bird and Anna Hayton, because they seem to be rising up into higher scoring in the team.
Yeah, I think
which is always good.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks over the last couple of years have watched that Parkersburg South team, and they've been young, so basically we've been watching the same kids now for 2 and 3 years. But Tara McCutcheon, Kia Bartlett are the two that really stick out. Of course, McCutcheon, the Michigan State commit right now in her junior year. Bartlett was the leading scorer for the team, but was injured in the state championship loss to Morgantown. She got hurt early in that game last year, and they definitely missed her in that ball game in Charleston. But now, when you add those extra scoring dimensions, and Anna Hayton seems to really add an interior scoring presence for them, I think that makes that team that much more complete.
Yeah, I think the thing I like about Parkersburg South is they don't rely on 1 or 2 scorers like they don't rely on Bartlett and McCutcheon. They like to kind of spread their scoring out between even some of the players that we don't usually see. Like, for example, Kelsey Prophet also got 4. Like, in Valentine got 5. It was a very even distribution, but we had all of those, some new faces up in the top scoring.
Well, Chad, we always appreciate hearing from you, and we're right into the heart of the postseason. Look forward to hearing from you again next week.
All right.
All right, those Lady Patriots will have a home game in the Class AAA regional tournament. And before we go to break here, we can't get too far involved in this right now, but just want to talk about boys AAA. We've known all season, or at least we've thought all season, that this was going to be a wide open type of bracket once postseason began. But South Charleston kind of rolled through the regular season, lost one game, lost a tight game to Hurricane, and then South Charleston, ranked number 1 at the time, loses at home in the MSAC championship game by 29 points to Capital. Parkersburg South becomes the new number 1. Earlier this week, Parkersburg South boys were beaten by 35 by Morgantown. I think they're all good, quite frankly, and I think this is a situation where it's not that the level of play is at a low level and then everybody's kind of muddling around. If you don't bring it, you get blown out of the gym.
Well, there's a lot of really quality teams, and Ryan, I don't want to overstate the fact, but I think what you're seeing at the end of the year, coming from a coaching perspective, the games I've seen this week, is that week to 2 weeks off. There were a lot of teams that were out of the gym for a week, 8 days, 9 days. nobody's going to use it as an excuse. I don't think anybody should. Everybody's kind of been fighting the same situation, but a lot of teams stay a little sharper. If you ever watch preseason scrimmages, you watch early season games, you see a lot of wacky stuff. You see some scores, you scratch your head. To have teams like South Charleston, to have teams like Park South to work their way through an entire season and then get blown out like that on your home court, to me is kind of shocking, because teams that are at that level, yeah, they may get upset. But, Joe, you rarely see somebody get waxed by 35 on their home court when they're ranked number 1.
Exactly. But, like you said, the weather has played such a big part. And, when you're used to being in the gym 5 days a week or 6 days a week, and like Ron said, you miss a couple days, you get out of rhythm, you get out of sync. And it can, like you said, it can play havoc on your squad. And, obviously that's happened this week.
Well, we're going to step aside for a break. Now, when we come back, we're going to have a very special guest. We've got Paul C. He is the head coach of the West Virginia School for the Deaf. They played in Maine in a tournament that I definitely think that a lot of people, you don't hear a lot about this school in Romney, West Virginia. You usually hear about Hampshire in Romney, West Virginia, but definitely want to look into how they performed in the ESDAA tournament. Again, that was in Maine last week, so we're looking forward to that. We'll have him when we come back here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
High school basketball action in West Virginia is heating up as teams focus on their trip to Charleston. Stay up to date with your local team and its progress all season long with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia for 3 hours every Friday night from 9 to midnight. Listen online or on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including Power 92 Radio, 92.3 FM, WIRCLP in Spencer, 97.9 FM, WSPW LP, Parkersburg, 91.5 FM, WRSG in Middleburn, 106.7 FM, WHFI, Linside, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM, WVOW, Logan, 90.7 FM, WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZ-LP Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM, WYAP-LP in Clay, and 88.1 FM, WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers can find Basketball Friday Night in Huntington on Comcast Channel 25 and Armstrong Digital Channel 204. Streaming online high-definition video can be found on our website, basketballnight.com, and on affiliate rsnsports.com. Listen online with any computer or mobile device by going to basketballnight.com and click on Listen Live. We want to hear from you tonight. Call us toll-free, 855-345-4709. 855-345-4709. Basketball Night in West Virginia.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State, you're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
It's 9:18 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Again, the SSAC schools into the postseason in girls sectional tournament play wrapping up mostly today. Again, by the end of the night, we hope to have the matchups all set for you for the regional and the which is a de facto state tournament playing game. All those games take place next week. We'll set the stage for you for those. We'll also do our best to kind of set up the boys sectional tournament. I know some things changed with undefeated. So we had 3 undefeated teams in Class AA boys when we were last with you a week ago. Again, we're with you at 9 till midnight every Friday night here on the Fast Break Sports Network. But since then, 2 of them have lost. So we're just down to 1 undefeated team left, trying to join Paden City, who went undefeated in 1987, the last boys team in West Virginia to do so. that Payton City team went 27-0, and again, almost 20 years now. But there is a school that we definitely want to recognize and talk about right now. That is the West Virginia School for the Deaf in Romney. Now, the School for the Deaf is also the School for the Deaf and Blind, but the School for the Deaf has a basketball team, and they do compete as a member of the SSAC. They just went to a tournament in Maine, and the head coach, Paul C., joins us now. And Paul, first off, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Yes, thanks. I'm honored to be with you guys.
And Coach, your ball club went to Maine for a tournament, the ESDAA tournament, and from my understanding, had a very strong showing, including a win over the Rochester School for the Deaf.
Yes, that's right. We sure did. We had a bunch of good games, and we did beat Rochester.
For those who aren't aware, tell me about this tournament as a whole, and the schools that are there, and what it means to you and the kids to get to go and compete there.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. We sort of set our group, for the Eastern schools, the divisions, all the deaf schools, into the tournament there, and it covers all the Northeast area. Maine, New York, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Delaware, all that area. And every year, there's a tournament for the deaf where everybody kind of gets together. All the teams travel up there and have a big tournament. And it was recently in Maine, and they took turns hosting it. And it was Maine this time. And they invited us because, everybody's invited because this is a competition. It's sort of a level playing field, if you will. All big players and everything. And so it ends up being a real, equitable competition. And the socialization is better as well,
Well, tell me about, and in all openness to our listeners as well, you also are deaf, and we're able to use a special program to be able to talk here on the show tonight. And just tell me about the fact, or just talk to me about how basketball doesn't change. I mean, yes, there's a little different. You have to do things a little differently, but it's still the sport and the spirit of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, everything is the same. The only difference really between that, and hearing basketball, if you will, is just I find like it's communicating with my team rather than yelling. Aside just the easier to communicate. It's actually easier to communicate at farther distances than yelling sometimes because you wouldn't be able to hear, but visually you communicate farther. It's harder sometimes to get their attention, since they can look. So you've got to wave your hands and everything so you say look, but really it's no different than any other team.
And obviously it's something that maybe a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, all of us who are fortunate enough to not have deficiencies, not deficiency, I don't want to say that, I don't want to say that in a bad way, but to not have to deal with disabilities of some nature, don't understand, or it's hard to put ourselves in those shoes. But when you stop and think about it, really what you're doing and what the Association of Schools and putting on this tournament doing in Maine, it's really an incredible thing, not only for the kids and coaches, but just for the communities and for their families as well.
Right, absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
Well, Coach, we certainly
basically, what we do, we've got the team, and everybody has to understand, that our school and the students, they come from lots of different parts of the state. There's a few from the Charleston area, and there's some from Parkersburg area. They come from all over the state to this one state school, for the deaf. And so the team is actually very special because it's not one town or one area. It actually encompasses the whole state, and everybody comes in all to this one location. So actually, the team is special in that regard.
Well, Coach, again, I think this is really something that is done right. I think that what you guys do is spectacular, and congratulations on such an outstanding showing. And I know sometimes we all get caught up in the wins and losses and all of that, but obviously basketball can serve a lot bigger purpose, and I think you guys have a good perspective on teaching the game and how to do it the right way. And obviously with your kids winning, that's just icing on the cake.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true. And and we're a member, of the Potomac, the Potomac Valley Conference, actually. And so, we don't really we get involved as much as we can. And it's not like we just show up and play. We're involved in everything, and we're lucky enough to have tryouts every year. We don't really need to have tryouts because we only have, so many students. So there's not really a tryout. Everybody we've got, plays for the most part. And so, I'm lucky to have 9 or 10 guys every year, that want to play. There's times when I've only had 8. I have 8 players. But, we make do. We get out there, we compete, we shout there and play. And so that's why the program is really special. I'm super proud of everybody, of all the players, and the program itself. And that's why I come back to coach every year.
Well, Coach, I think you hit the nail on the head there with pride. I think all of us in West Virginia, as you said, it's a school that represents the entire state. I think we've all got a lot to be proud of in what you guys are doing as well. We appreciate you joining us tonight, and we wish you the best moving forward as state tournament play gets underway.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's Paul C. He's the head coach for the West Virginia School for the Blind and Deaf, and the West Virginia School for the Deaf with the basketball team that finished 3rd in the Eastern Deaf Schools Association Athletic Association tournament in Maine earlier. That was last week, actually 2 weeks ago now. So fortunately, they got to Maine before the worst of the weather hit. But, Joe, I think sometimes we take a lot of things for granted, and I think that call kind of put a lot of things in perspective.
It really does. I mean, like you said, we don't think of being handicapped in any form or fashion. And then you take these kids to go to that school and to be able to play sports, much less get an education. So it would have to be an exciting time for them, and then get to travel like they do because they play other schools of their they're similar type schools, so they have to travel because pretty much that's the only school in this whole region, deaf and blind. So they have to go other places to play.
And Coach Marone, you heard him talking about the challenges of coaching from that situation too. About everything has to be in a hand motion. Obviously, we're beyond sign language. We're talking about being able to convey quickly a thought from a coach to a player, and coaching doesn't change, though, in many ways, no matter what the course is, because while you communicate differently, it's the same type of communications.
Yeah, and it really shows the universality of the game of basketball. I mean, we know now it's a worldwide sport. It's still, in my opinion, the most popular sport as far as all different age groups can participate, whether you have disabilities or not. And I'm telling you what, there's some talented players that come through the West Virginia School for the Deaf. They've had some really players that have put up some good numbers. I think one of the boys on their team this year has had a really good year for them. And if you go watch, you're going to see a good quality caliber of basketball. But as you mentioned, it really shows the love of the game, and bringing together so many people from different areas to me is the most intriguing thing. And Coach C, to me, as a coach, hats off to him. We all love the game, but I tell you, when you coach in the situation that he is really pulling those kids together and teaching them some life lessons, because unfortunately a lot of those kids that are at the School for the Deaf, it does have a residential facility there. There's kids that there, and Coach C and a lot of those personnel that work there are family to those kids, and they really go above and beyond what just a coach's duty is, and just hats off to them, and really proud of what he's doing there and the work that he's done.
I do want to share a quick story before we go to break here. Back in, it's been a little over 10 years now. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but 2003 was senior year of a kid that I got to know. He went through Wayne High School, grew up in the system, so I've known him all growing up. His name's Adam Tigert, and he was also deaf. He played defensive end for the football team, and Coach Marone may remember him. He was a good football player, period.
Very good.
Yeah, he blocked about 4 or 5 punts that year, and I remember at Winfield, his junior year, he stripped the kickoff return man, turned around, and took the ball back into the end zone, and it was just an incredible moment, an incredible play for him. And he went to Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., which specializes in for players. They have a football team at Gallaudet, and he was a player. I mean, they featured that team on ESPN.
Yeah, for hearing impaired. That's exactly right.
And he was a big part of that team as well. And definitely, I just had a chance to catch up with him just about a week ago. So I
10
think
years ago is not that long,
No,
right?
no.
I mean, you're just, when you're talking about me and Joe, I mean, 10 years is just a snap of the fingers.
He's still a spring chicken.
That's right.
there we go. But definitely it was good to catch up with him, and definitely good to hear from Coach C. And like we said, puts everything in perspective. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go back to Romney. We'll go back to Kyle Moon, WVSB, to talk Hampshire High School basketball, and we'll again have another scoreboard update as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Carrie LaHoda, Tulsa Lady Rebels, Steve Hairston, Sissonville Indians, Cody Maynard, Parkersburg South Patriots, Elijah Cuffey, Polka Dots, Gavin Nichols, Clay County Panthers, Gage Wicks, Williamstown Yellow Jackets, Jadarian Wade, Parkersburg Big Reds, Jared West, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and Mackenzie Barker, Clay County Lady Panthers. What they've all got in common is they were selected by Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as the standout athlete of the week. If you've got somebody remarkable on your team or an athlete that needs a nomination for something they've done in the community, you can nominate your team's players to become the Basketball Friday Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week, we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com, and click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Mountain State's voice for high school basketball. We want you to become part of the Basketball Friday Night family, and we'd like for you to become our correspondent and update us on your team's games. There's lots of ways to do it. Check out our website, basketballnight.com. Follow us on Twitter, @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Call the show tonight, 855-345-4709. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
9:33 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Big Friday night for girls basketball as they are getting their sectional tournament games coming down the stretch and getting them all put away. And still a couple, at least one or two, will be played tomorrow, so we won't have our full regional bracket today. But again, we talk about the snap of a finger.
Where did the season go?
What happened? Joe, we just talked about this, what seemed like last week, but has already been, what, like
3 or
weeks
4
ago?
weeks?
Right, yeah. That was a month ago. But still, as we get into postseason play, before we go to the scoreboard here real fast, and we'll have Coach Marone give us a scoreboard update in just a moment, but I know you come from Madison. You follow the Scott Skyhawks. We've talked on this program about that girls Region 4, Section 2 those 5 teams being very, very similar and all being pretty good. Chapmanville Regional was the number 1 seed
right.
and had not lost to any of the other sectional opponents, although they had won many games by just 2 and 3 points.
Right.
Scott was the 5 seed out of 5. Scott wins its playing game against Wayne in a very tight ball game. Then Scott beats Chapmanville Regional and gets to the sectional final. So you had a number 2 versus a number 5. Mingo Central beating Tulsa and Coach Marone earlier this week. But my point being, we said that was going to be a very competitive sectional, and we were right.
Yeah.
I'm not sounding surprised that we were right, but we were right.
Even I was at the boys' game Wednesday night and didn't get to go to the girls' game, and when we, social media came in and we found out the score and the PA announcer, announced the score that Scott had beaten Chapmanville, it was like, everybody was in shock because nobody really expected that, for the number 5 seed to actually defeat a number 1 seed.
That's why we play them. And Coach, we were right. From 1 through 5, there may not have been a more balanced sectional in the state.
No, and I think it was that way all year long. And as you mentioned, Chapmanville able to win a lot of close games. Coach Williamson had a great year. Him and his squad, they were right there in the conference race. They only lost 1 conference game this year. They lost a game to Sissonville. Their second game with Sissonville was postponed due to weather. They were 10-1 in the Cardinal Conference. So tournament time comes down to one night and executing your game plan. And I not to rehash, but you could tell both teams in that game and our game as well, there was a feeling out process. Some of them had not been in competitive action. We hadn't played in almost 2 weeks, but it was the same for everybody. Right. But I think Scott took advantage of that. Scott did what they do. They executed well. They didn't hurt themselves. And I tell you, that senior leadership, and I know they got beat tonight to Mingo Central, and we'll talk about that in a bit. They're going to have to go on the road to a regional game. But I tell you what, they had a coaching change this year. Coach Porter stepped down after a great career that he had, and they had some regrouping. And give those seniors credit, Landon McKinney and Rankin, the whole crew. They got several girls that have been in the state tournament. They've been to state tournament, deep in the state tournament. Right. I don't think they wanted it to end. And, Joe, you're a lot closer with that program than I am. But I could see on Wednesday night, and, of course, they came up a bit short tonight. They will go to Clay County next week. They're still alive, and I think a lot of that rests on that senior leadership. And
it really does. You and I talked about this the night Scott and Tulsa played, and, those girls have been there. And, like you said, they have been at the top. And, when you get down to the championship game and lose it, you've got that fire. I want to go back. I want that opportunity again to be able to bring home a state championship.
And they were in the state tournament last year. Right. A lot of people, of course, the run that Mackenzie White had there, they got to the state finals 3 years in a row, came up short in those. They forget about the supporting cast that was there, and that group of girls that was there, that were there last year, got Scott to the state tournament, didn't really finish the way they wanted. So these girls that were seniors, that are seniors, they're still playing. Just a testament, Ryan. You talk about stories, you talk about the School for the Deaf, you talk about some of these other stories, and Scott, who, to be honest, struggled through the year. They got hot late in the season. They had a big win over Mingo Central. They beat Wayne a couple of times. They got some big wins late in the year, and I think their momentum carried them into a sectional final tonight.
Absolutely. Great run of games there tonight, and a great run through the postseason. That is just starting. Again, we're 2 weeks away. In 2 weeks, we will have the girls' semifinals will be wrapping up. The nightcap will be wrapping up in Charleston at this time. And we'll already know the boys' matchups for the following week, weather permitting.
Hard to believe.
Wow.
It is hard to believe.
Key word, weather permitting.
Right. So, Coach Marone, it's time for you to give us a check of the scoreboard. And after that, we'll go to Kyle Moon or WVSB.
If you're looking for scores, look no more. Put that car in neutral, pull off to the side of the road, and listen to BasketballNight.com scoreboard update. We're going girls basketball to start with. It's all tournament action. It's all sectional finals. In Region 1, Wheeling Central 57, Magnolia 40. Ravenswood gets a 63-52 win over Roane County. Fairmont Senior rolls over North Marion, a matchup of number 2 and number 3 in AA. They win 78-52 in Class AA. In Class AAA, Parkersburg South, maybe closer than people thought, but still a 59-46 win for the Lady Patriots. In Region 2, sectional finals, Lincoln 50, Bridgeport 31. Class A, Tucker County 54, Notre Dame 28. Kaiser Actually started out down 8-0 in this game. They went on a 17-0 run and then rolled over Frankfort 56-42. Coach Josh Blow and his crew move on to the regionals as a sectional winner. Kaiser and Frankfort both, of course, will move on to next week. Martinsburg 43, Jefferson 41, Buchanan Upshur 39, Hampshire 38. In Region 3, Class AAA, South Charleston 52, Capital 33. Fayetteville 65, Midland Trail 47 in a Class A sectional final. Class AAA final, Greenbrier East 59, Princeton 39. Region 4 scores tonight. St. Joe rolls over Charleston Catholic 62-28. Class AA, we just talked about the Scott Skyhawks. They actually come up short to Mingo Central. 61-45 Mingo Central with the big win, the first sectional championship in the Lady Miners history tonight. Hurricane falls to St. Albans in Class AAA Region 4, 49-43. St. Albans will now host a regional game again this year. Huntington High will be coming in next Tuesday night. Hurricane will have to pack their bags for Wayne County. They'll head to Spring Valley and take on a very hot Spring Valley Later Timberwolves team. Williamstown and Coach Fred Sorrow rolls over Gilmore County 67-54 in Class A sectional finals. A big matchup in Clay County, Class AA Region 4 Section 1, Clay County 52, Sissonville 48. That sends Sissonville on the road next Wednesday night. They'll travel up on the Miners Mountain to take on Mingo Central in a regional co-final. Clay County will host the Scott Skyhawks. Huntington High falls 75-51 to Spring Valley in a Class AAA Region 4 final. Again, all those regional games, both winners and runners-up, or sectional games, will advance to regional play next week in their respective classes. On the boys' side, Bishop Walsh out of Maryland falls to Frankfort 54-45. Wesley Christian 49, Tug Valley 46. Winfield 76-39, winner over Point Pleasant. Lincoln County 72, Nitro 58. Summers County in overtime takes out Independence 57-56. Preston 72, Bridgeport 69, and Greenbrier East in an afternoon businessman special 66-38 over the Wayne Pioneers. That's a look at your basketballnight.com scoreboard update.
Yeah, Wayne made that 3-hour trip to Lewisburg tonight. They'll play Tulsa tomorrow night in the sectional tournament in Logan. Another hour trip tomorrow. So
it's almost like maybe just stop on the way back tonight.
Right.
You know, get off the interstate at the corridor.
Yeah, hang a left.
Couple good hotels at Southridge. And just
yeah, sounds like a plan. Right now, we'll go right back to the phones. Kyle Moon, WVSB in Romney, joins us. And Kyle wants to talk about the Hampshire Trojans this week. Kyle, what do you got for us this week?
Well, real quick before I start on that, I do want to say I know you guys were just talking about the School for the Deaf and what they were doing, and I did get to go to one of their games a couple weeks ago, but due to snow, I haven't really called in much. Weather doesn't like me lately, but I did make it to one of their games, and it definitely is a very, very special thing to watch. You can tell they all love basketball. They love the game, and they're determined to play. And to watch them and the way they communicate on the court, it is something special.
Well, that's definitely something that's something that you have to really, honestly, you have to see it to really understand it. And it really is amazing how sometimes we think we have a bad day if, something hurts or doesn't feel exactly right, or we didn't get enough sleep or something like that. And, boy, they put us to shame when it comes to people who deal with handicaps every day.
Yeah, it's really something different. I would recommend anybody that ever hears about a deaf basketball game. It's something that's very interesting to watch. But moving on to Hampshire, tonight the girls' team, like you just said on the score update, they were up at the end of every single quarter except for the fourth. They lost by 1. I didn't get to make it to that game because it's in Buchanan, but I do know we lost. But earlier this week, when the girls won their first sectional game, really close game, they won it 56-54 over Lewis County. But what really made it special, but what's been kind of a hard thing for Hampshire this week, is beginning of the week this week we actually lost a student at Hampshire High School, a freshman that was good friends with a lot of the people on the basketball team, Danielle Combs. She lost a battle with cystic fibrosis, and the day after was the girls' game. And watching them pull it out in the end like that after something like that happened, and I know her best friend was one of the starters on the team, and it was a tough time for us, but it was really, really special night that night.
Sometimes, and as I think all of us have been around sports long enough. Unfortunately, it becomes, I say unfortunately, but it's true. I mean, the game gets put into perspective, but the game can also kind of serve a little bit as an opportunity for everyone to get together and to take their mind off the bad things that may be going on, and kind of celebrate, the games themselves, but also a chance to get out on the floor and honor someone who we may have lost. So sometimes a game can also be a little bit of a therapeutic situation as well.
Yeah, and it was sitting there in the crowd. It was really special to watch. We had a little moment of silence before the game, and just to watch the players and the relationship between the players and the fans. And I know her family came that night to the game, and they were everybody was wearing purple that night. We had a special thing. Everybody was wearing purple, and the girls on the team were wearing purple in their hair. And the way they pulled it out there at the end, it was a very close game. It would have been a good game without that, but it really made it special. And then to make it even better, a couple of days later, boys' game against Frankfurt, and they had a very good game and won that one by 18. So before tonight, it was a very good week basketball-wise for Hampshire. And really, losing by one, a lot of people didn't even think Hampshire would win their game earlier this week. And from what I've understood, I've talked to some people that were at the game. They did play very well tonight, so it wasn't that bad.
Hey, there you go. Hey, Kyle, we always appreciate it. And, again, Hampshire coming up next week in girls basketball. They will play on March 3rd at Martinsburg. Winner goes to Charleston. So season not done. Still an opportunity to reach the state tournament. Kyle, thanks for calling.
Yep, and also next week. Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was just going to say also next week, Wednesday, the boys start with their sectional games. And I didn't talk about them as much this week, but every time I've gone and see them, they've impressed me more and more. So I would not be surprised at all to see them in Charleston.
All right. Well, you better keep going to those games then. They're going to expect you there.
I will try.
All right. Hey, Kyle, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. We have to take a break. We'll come right back, though, and we'll have Nick Cabell. He's the boys' head basketball coach at Scott High School. Talk about the Skyhawks and the upcoming Class AA Region 4 Section 2 boys tournament as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
It's the Daily Hoops Roundup, part of BasketballNight.com. Every day, we recap the day's scores just for you on all the teams in West Virginia, including all of the sectional games, all the championship games. You can follow it, scores all the way through till the end of the season. We send followers a tweet at midnight with a link to the Daily Hoops Roundup. You can also visit BasketballNight.com and just click on Daily Hoops Roundup for all the day's scores. We'd like you to become part of our score reporting crew too. This week, join us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. You can send us your scores by Twitter, text, email, and we make that part of our daily Hoops Roundup. We want you to become part of the Basketball Friday Night family. On Twitter, @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Email scores to scores@basketballnight.com, scores@basketballnight.com. You can also send us a text. The text number is 304-249-4924, 304-249-4924. Check it out at basketballnight.com. The Daily Hoops Roundup. A shout out to those folks sending us tweets tonight. We appreciate you helping us keep track of all the games and all the schedules, including the Putnam Standard, Macy Queen, Scott Savro, Johnny, Nathan, MTHS Sports, Chad Strauzer, Michael Perrault, who is a new follower tonight. Thanks for following us, Michael. Caitlin Fields and Cindy Cooper. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. This is Basketball Friday Night.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
9:49 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the fastest 3 hours in all of radio. Ryan Epling along with Rick Marone and Joe Linville with you here on this Friday night. Again, James Collier normally joins us, but he is in Columbia, South Carolina with Marshall softball, who picked up a win today, and John Marshall alum Kylie Howard hits her first career home run today as well. So, we cover them from West Virginia about the time they get into basketball mode or through high school. We'll keep on covering them as long as they keep playing.
There you go. You know, last time I was here, he was in Charleston, South Carolina,
Yeah.
but it was cold. That was the day they were delayed, and they were still playing softball, and we're on the air doing basketball recaps.
Yeah, WMUL joined us in progress that night because they had a frozen field in Charleston, South Carolina that day. Everything's been frozen. We haven't had a 40-degree day in the tri-state area here in the Huntington, Charleston area, and I think it was 20 days now since it's reached 40 degrees. Nick Cabell with us now. He's the head coach of the Scott Skyhawks. And, Coach, this is a good time of year for the gym to have a good heating system.
Oh, yeah, you ain't kidding. we used to like turn it up there, Scott. And, it's a small court, and you get a lot of fans in there, and it makes it even warmer. So, good time for that for sure.
Absolutely. Coach, your team 14-7 on the season and getting ready for sectional tournament play next week at the Logan Fieldhouse. And between coming into this season and how the season has played out, I know you guys have played a very, very competitive schedule, including games with Wyoming East, games with West Side. Basically, not just the very strong Cardinal Conference, but also some of the better AA teams from outside the conference as well. How do you feel your team has performed compared to where you thought they would be at this time?
Yeah, you're right. We played West Side 3 times. I'm glad you reminded me of that. 3 times with West Side, twice with Poca. I think 11 or so of our games have been against teams that got votes for top 10. So, we're definitely battle-tested. Not to say that Mingo Central or Chapmanville's not. They're in our section as well. But, you try to put your kids in situations to make them ready for sectional play, ready for tournament play, ready for possibly state tournament. So, they're about where I figured we would be. We won a couple games that I thought we may or may not. We lost a couple I thought we should have won. But that's what you get with kids and high school kids. They give it their all, you give it your all, and throw the ball up, see what happens.
Hey, Coach, Joe Linville here. Your team seems to have been up and down a couple of times through the season. Any comments there?
Well, I think if anybody's watched us play, it's not a real big secret. If our bigs come to play, which, we're a fairly big team, but our bigs underneath it, when they come to play and they really bring the energy, they bring the emotion and the effort that we preach every day, we're a totally different ball club. We've got some sides down low that's hard to deal with sometimes. But when they actually bring it and do all the things we ask them to do as far as the energy and stuff, that seems like the games that we play better. Whenever they're doing stuff inside, they're scoring, they're drawing a double team, they're getting a kick out. It's better team ball. Sometimes we don't always play with that energy, and that's the games that we seem like we've lost in the past. But sectional play coming up, I fully expect them to bring it start to finish.
Herbert Hoover took your team to overtime Wednesday night. Your thoughts there is that with the win, does that give you the confidence you need as you face a very tough Mingo Central team Monday night in Logan?
Oh, you love a game like that right before sectionals. Some teams might want a big win to give them confidence, but you want to be battle tested. Hoover, in my opinion, has got one of the best coaches in the state, and they got another kid that was healthy, that hadn't played most of the year. And, when they're shooting the ball well, they're as good as anybody. And, they beat Chapmanville earlier in the year. So Chapmanville got the 1 seed in our section. But, our Cardinal Conference is tough from top to bottom. You never know. Last year, Wayne upset Chapmanville. Chapmanville makes state tournament. So you never really know what you're going to get. Every team's good. Hoover's one of those. Sissonville's one of those, all of them. And then, of course, you've got Poca, Chapmanville, Mingo. It's a lot like what I used to say, the Big East, now the Big 12, with the WVU has to face. You know, any night it's a conference game, you got to come out and give it your all.
How has the weather affected your team? You know, we've talked about that a lot tonight. Some of these teams have not gotten to play together for a week, possibly even 2 weeks, but, you know, a little bit different situation with your team.
Well, actually, we had a 3-game stretch the week before the weather hit. So we were playing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I thought I had a bright idea to give them a couple days off, Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday, of course, you can't do anything. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we weren't allowed in the gym because roads were too bad.
Right.
So we went through a 10-day stretch without practice. And I thought, oh, my God, I don't know what I'm going to get when I get back in the gym. So we were finally able to get them back in the gym, and they were absolutely dead after about 30 minutes. So we got the most out of them we could, sent them home, told them to get some rest, fluids, bring back the next day, try to do it again. But, you know, like everybody else has said on here, we're not the only team that's had to deal with that. So, you know, just make the best of it and try to keep trucking.
Well, Coach, I think I know there were some people who came out that I've seen talk about the sectional seedings. To me, they look just fine. I know that there was a little bit of a discussion, though, between your team being 2, Mingo Central being 3. Maybe some people thought that should be reversed, but quite frankly, there's no difference other than the color of uniform and the locker room you dress in.
No, and actually, I guess you want to get this a little juicy, aren't you?
No, actually, honestly, not too bad. I did see a little bit of discussion about that one section, though, in particular.
Yeah, there was a little discussion, but I don't think it was between us and Mingo. If anything, I felt like regional coaches vote, us and Mingo should have been in the running for the 1 seed. You know, Chapmanville lost to Hoover and Sissonville. Us and Mingo both beat them. Chapmanville did beat Mingo twice. We split with Chapmanville, which, of course, I'm not biased, would give us the 1 seed. But,
and you only got to play Mingo Central once.
We did. They had too much snow on their mountain for us to play them before ballots were due. So we didn't get to play that game.
So, and again, I follow the Cardinal Conference pretty strong. I think all 3 of you are legitimately have, you know, a case for any of those 3 spots. I think I don't necessarily think anyone's quote unquote wrong. Just maybe, you know, it could have gone any of 3 ways for that one. I think all you guys are really right in the same boat. Coach, and now this is where it gets juicy, and I'm not trying to lead you too far down here. I think you know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with it. We've got some shorts here on set for our audience online, but none that have received the reception, so to speak, that some of the ones that your kids wore before several games this year, saying means more because it's local, had logos of other schools that are in your area. I know your kids are all from West Madison, gone through the Scott system. That's not necessarily the case with some of the other teams in that section. I know that's not anything you can deal with at this point, but was there a conscientious effort, knowing that there's going to be some blowback from this when your team warmed up in those shorts?
Well, you know, as a coach, you're always looking for ways to motivate your kids. I think that's one of the things. It's the toughest thing to do. The X's and O's. I think every coach out there knows those. It's ways to, you know, find your kids to play hard for you. Ways to find your kids to do things for you that, you know, goes above and beyond. And whenever those shirts were presented to me, I, you know, debated on it there for a while, but the boys liked it. They saw them. You know, parent brought it up. They wanted to wear them. And I thought, you know, whatever it takes, it's, you know, it's true.
Right.
We are all from there.
It is.
We all came from the Madison Buddy League. You know, they played grade school ball against each other, my 5 starters. So, you know, it's just one of those things that they liked. You know, I'm not going to lie, I liked it, and just thought, let's roll with it, see what happens.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, I'll just share with you what I thought about it. Not that you care, but I just thought, well, if it's true, then if anybody's upset, it's because they've got a little bit of a guilty conscience. So I think that's just fine. Maybe I'm not ruffled a couple of feathers there, but that's okay as well. Coach, we do wish you the best of luck, though. We appreciate you joining us, and we kind of threw some darts there at you tonight, but we certainly appreciate you hanging in there with us and joining us here tonight on the show.
Well, thank you so much, and I would love to give a shout out if you don't mind. Our middle school won their conference tournament tonight, Madison Middle. They beat Chapmanville, which is always a great rivalry.
Absolutely.
And of course, you guys already mentioned it, but our girls did a phenomenal job this year after losing their head coach, having Coach Burns come in. He did a great job. They battled through, and I'm really proud of those girls as well. But thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. All right, that's Nick Cabell, head boys basketball coach at Scott High School. Again, the Skyhawks, the 2 seed in the Class AA Region 4 Section 2 tournament that starts up actually tomorrow with the 4-5 game at Logan Fieldhouse, and then winner of that game gets into play Chapmanville Regional next week, and then
Actually, Monday.
Yeah. Mingo Central and Scott will play on Monday. Right. They get right into that. So right now we're going to step aside, take a break. We'll come back. We'll have a scoreboard update, and we've got Bill Cornwell. He's going to talk about that Spring Valley Huntington girls game, the Lady Wolves getting the big sectional tournament championship win at the Logan Fieldhouse. Yes, 2 schools located 6 miles apart made the long trip to Logan, but Spring Valley getting the win tonight. We'll talk with Bill Cornwell when we come back on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For those of you that are having a challenge reaching us on our 800 number, well, we're having some technical issues. So you can call 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554. And we hope to have the 800 number working again here shortly. They are working on it. Again, if you're trying to reach the show, dial 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554, and you'll get that friendly voice at Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Special thanks tonight to all of our affiliates. You can listen to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia throughout the Mountain State on great radio stations, including Power 92 Radio, 92.3 FM WYRCLP in Spencer, 97.9 FM WSPW LP Parkersburg, 91.5 FM WRSG in Middleburn, 106.7 FM WHFI Linside, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM WVOW in Logan, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM WQAZLP Edmond Beckley, 90.7 FM WFG8 Fort Gay, and 88.1 FM WMUL Huntington, 101.7 FM WYAP LP in Clay. Cable subscribers, you can find Basketball Friday Night in Huntington on Comcast Channel 25 and Armstrong Digital Channel 204. And yes, we have audio tonight on Comcast Channel 25. Thanks to all the tech guys for that. You are listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Heard statewide on great radio stations. Visit basketballnight.com to find the station nearest you. Get all the scores all the time at basketballnight.com or on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. Now back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with James Collier, Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
Into hour 2 of the program, 10:03 here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We've got a jam-packed hour 2 for you. We'll have a couple of scoreboard updates. We're also, again, working to get all of the matchups confirmed up for next week's girls regional play. We'll have our standout athlete of the week. We'll tell you who that is as well. We'll hear from Bill Cornwell in just a minute. And hopefully later on in the hour, we'll hear from Spring Valley. It's Madison Morris, who made a big comeback of her own, and a kind of a great personal story there of being able to overcome the injury late in the season and to lead her team to a sectional title. But we've given you a little bit of a tease there. You're here for scores, and Joe, I didn't give you a heads up here, but I'll do it now. Joe Linville has a check of our basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Look no more. Find your scores at basketballnight.com. Let's take a look at the boys' scores first. It was Frankfort taking a win over Bishop Walsh, Maryland. Wesley Christian over Tug Valley 49-46. Winfield defeated Point Pleasant 76-39. It was the Polka Dots over Charleston Catholic 63-37. Lincoln County defeated Nitro 72-58. It was Independence falling to Summers County. That game went into overtime 57-56. Preston defeated Bridgeport 72-69. And Greenbrier East defeated Wayne 66-38. Now let's take a look at the girls' scores from across the state in sectional action. In Region 1, Class A, it was Wheeling Central over Magnolia 57-40. Ravenswood defeated Roane County in a Class AA game 63-52. In Class AA, it was also Fairmont Senior over North Marion 78-52. In AAA, Parkersburg South defeated Parkersburg 59-46. In Region 2, Class AA, it was Lincoln over Bridgeport 50-31. In Class A, Tucker County defeated Notre Dame 54-28. In Class AA, it was Kaiser defeating Frankfort 56-42. In AAA, Martinsburg defeated Jefferson 43-41. Also in AAA, it was Buckhannon Upshur over Hampshire 39-38. Moving on to Region 3 sectional action. In AAA, it was South Charleston over Capital 52-33. In Class A, it was Fayetteville over Midland Trail 65-47. In AAA, in that Region 3, it was Greenbrier East over Princeton 59-39. In Region 4, Class A, it was St. Joe 62, Charleston Catholic 28. In Class AA, in Logan, it was the Mingo Central Miners over the Skyhawks of Scott 61-45. In Class AAA, St. Albans defeated Hurricane 49-43. In a Class A game, it was Williamstown 67, Gilmer County 54. In Class AA, it was Clay County over Sissonville 52-48. And in AAA, in that region, it was Huntington over Spring Valley 51-75. And that's your basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Spring Valley 75, Huntington 51. And
I'm sorry.
I had to. I only did that because I know who else would have to correct you. Bill Cornwell. He joins us now. Billy C., welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Happy you were able to navigate the phone lines and get to us.
I was going to say, if Joe wouldn't have corrected that, I'd have come through those phone lines.
Technical on me.
Yeah, well, hey, our resident referee, that will probably happen. But
hey, guys, I tell you what, guys, I'm excited you're going to get a chance to talk to Maddie Morris because, you know, that's basically the theme of the call this evening. What a story. When you think about coming into the season, young lady, she signed with Marshall, just a great future ahead of her, and she gets hurt. And she got hurt, of course, during the off season, came back slowly, then gets hurt at Logan in the 15th of January, and a lot of people thought, there's no way she's going to be able to come back later this year. And Spring Valley is going to have a tough time navigating a tough MSAC schedule. Well, they did have a tough time. They had some tough losses. But she comes back at the MSAC Night of Champions last week, plays well, rusty though she was in a losing effort to St. Albans in the third place game in the MSAC. But, man, what a week she's had. She turned it on against Logan at Logan 2 nights ago in the first round of the sectional, and then tonight a double-double, 14 points and 11 assists. And, the comment from Coach Kevin Gertz from Logan a couple of nights ago, he could not believe the shape she was in. His thoughts were, well, she's going to go in for a little while, and then she's going to not be in shape and not be able to keep going. Well, guess what? She kept going. And you wouldn't have known that she'd been off for a month. After the words of Bo Miller, Coach Bo Miller of the Lady Wolves, after he got the rust knocked off of her, she's done so well. And, credit a lot of people who helped her. I know that the folks at the HIT Center in Huntington, who do a lot of rehab and strength training, have really worked well with her. People at Spring Valley have worked well with her. And quite a story for her to be able to come back after a tough, broken hand and to do as well as she is doing and have this team very close on the knocking on the door for a chance to go to Charleston. And so many people around the state looked at this sectional and thought, there's no way that Spring Valley is going to beat Logan in Logan. Well, they did. And then they looked at the fact that Huntington's such a strong team. Well, there's no way they're going to beat Huntington. Well, they did it. They did Sally tonight, 75-51, guys. And the scores are interesting looking at it because Spring Valley had beat Huntington at Huntington on the 13th of January, 54-51, a real competitive game. Then just a few weeks ago, on the 2nd of February, Huntington had come to Spring Valley and almost ran the Timberwolves out of the gym. It was a 5-point win eventually, but it was a game that really, at that point, was not that close. Huntington looked really good, but again, getting this team back to full strength has just meant everything. And, of course, that means getting Maddie Morris and her size. And, of course, her size was a big, big problem for Huntington tonight. They just don't have anybody with her height and her ability to keep the ball alive around the basket. So what a story, and you're going to get a chance to talk to her in a little bit. Of course, Spring Valley winning the section will host Hurricane on Tuesday night. That's going to be a wild night at the Wolves Den. Earlier in the season, 27th of January, Hurricane came to the Wolves Den, lost to Spring Valley by 6, 59-53. But big night for Abby Watson that night as she took that team from Hurricane and kind of put it on her back. And she is a great player. She's going to be a real challenge for Spring Valley. But Spring Valley will certainly have the home court advantage Tuesday night in that regional final. And they love to be going back to Charleston for the second time in 3 years.
Tell you what, Bill, a couple quick things that come to mind. If you step away from the basketball side of this whole story, and I know that's the focus of it right now, two things that really impressed me. Number one is the fact that with Maddie Morris out of that lineup, yes, they did have a couple rough games, but the depth that this team was able to develop, because they had a lot of players that had to play some big minutes, that's the first thing that I think is going to bode well for them moving forward. The second thing is almost not basketball related. Here's a young lady that already has a scholarship at Marshall University. She's coming off a major knee injury. What does it say about her character as a teammate and a player? I know a lot of people and players that I could probably figure would not risk further injury, would have not come back from the knee injury. She's there for her teammates, for Spring Valley High School, and I have to think that they're on a mission to try and get that first state championship.
Let me tell you the kind of person that she is and how unselfish she is, because she was getting to the point on her senior night a couple of weeks ago where, she could have gone into the game and started and played about a minute and protected the hand and then come out. But you know what? She said, no, Coach Miller, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt the team by taking about a minute into the game. Don't start me. And he didn't. And they came away with a victory in that game. And but that, again, is just the attitude of that young lady. And she just is something special. And people are going to that don't know her are going to find that out, especially as she possibly gets to Charleston, and they'll get a chance to see her in close proximity there at the Civic Center if the Timberwolves are able to get there in a couple of weeks. Of course, as a sophomore, she was there and got to play, and of course, the Timberwolves lost a very tough semifinal game to Logan in that tournament. We already got to see Shayna Gore and her going at it earlier in her careers. Of course, now they're going to be teammates at the Cam Henderson Center with the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, Bill, really quick. They play a Hurricane team. From a coaching perspective, I think, is there any chance, and I know this is a focused squad, they've been through a lot, they did beat Hurricane without Maddie Morris earlier this year. is there any chance of a letdown? They've got to turn around on Tuesday and take on a Hurricane team that got beat tonight at St. Albans, but with Abby Watson, Mary Rogaszewski and company, not a team that you can sleep on and just walk through to a regional title.
Abby Watson is an all-state player. She is really tough, and all I have to mention is the name Rogaszewski. You know, there's talent, there's toughness there. You know, like sister, like brother, and but the thing, and Rick, you said it. The depth that Spring Valley has developed is unbelievable. I mean, they're playing 10 and 11 players, and Bo Miller does not fear going deep on the bench. He's been playing freshmen. The Vaughn sisters are freshmen, and he's been playing sophomores. So, but you talk about having a letdown. I really would have a tough time believing there would be a letdown when you got as many seniors as Spring Valley throws out on that floor, a Sarah Kelly, an Allie McGraw, obviously a Madison Morris, a Cassidy Lemons. I mean, they're just it's a senior, a veteran-laden team, and on that home floor, and you know it's going to be rocking out there next Tuesday night. It's going to be a really big challenge for Hurricane.
Should be a lot of fun, Bill Cornwell. I think we got through this without mentioning that, if I'm not mistaken, Sarah Kelly was knocking on the door of a triple-double against Logan as well, and her play from the point guard position. Yeah. And I think Madison Morris is able to kind of allow them to have more weaponry and not have to focus so much on just a couple of players to score for them.
And let me mention a little bit about Huntington High. You talk about a coaching job. Lonnie Lucas has got a major, I would say, a rehab job before this team takes on a very good St. Albans team next Tuesday night, because the Highlanders, after having a lead early tonight against Spring Valley, late first half, early second half, fell apart. Not hitting shots, losing composure, having trouble handling pressure of the Lady Wolves. And to be honest with you, they lost their composure quite a bit. I know there was one technical called in the second half against Huntington, and it seemed that there was a lot of folks with their daubers down for the Highlanders of Huntington, as Spring Valley just kept on rolling. So, Lonnie Lucas, veteran coach that you are, you got a big-time rehab job before these Highlander team plays Tuesday at St. Albans. And, of course, St. Albans, another tough place to play.
Bill Cornwell, always a pleasure, and look forward to hearing from you again next week, as we'll have the girls' state tournament pairings in 1 week. Unbelievable.
Oh, it'll be enjoyable, and we will get with you on that.
Sounds like a plan. All right, we will right now step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Wes Williamson Daily News. He was at that Scott Mingo Central girls game at the Williamson Fieldhouse tonight. We'll also talk with Chris Kidd, WVOW, with Chapmanville Regional in just a moment as well. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Congratulations to Mackenzie Barker, Jarrett West, Jadarian Wade, Gage Wicks, Gavin Nichols, Elijah Cuffey, Cody Maynard, Steve Hairston, and Carrie LaHoda. What they all have in common is they were selected by Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as the Standout Athlete of the Week. If you have someone remarkable on your team, we want you to nominate them. Go online at basketballnight.com and check out the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the form, and we'll do the rest. Check it out, basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The Mountain State's voice for everything high school basketball. We're having some challenges with the toll-free number tonight, but you can still call us. Call us at 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554. Like I said, we're having some technical challenges with the phone, and the phone guys are working on that. But you can call us on 646-929-1554. You've got till 11:45 tonight to answer the poll. Go to our website, basketballnight.com, and vote. Should coaches be allowed to vote for all teams in their region for sectional seeding? Yes, they should, or no, they shouldn't. We want to hear from you. It's on the right-hand side of the webpage at basketballnight.com. Again, if you want to call the show tonight, call us at 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554. Basketball Friday night.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
10:19 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, rolling along here on a Friday night where most of the girls' sectional tournaments wrapped up. Some still play tomorrow, so we don't know all those matchups, but one sort of historic night for some folks down in Mingo County. Mingo Central goes to the Williamson Fieldhouse. They beat Scott in the girls' Region 4 Section 2 championship, first sectional championship for Mingo Central High School, and they will play for a berth in the state tournament. Wes Wilson was there. Wes knows all things when it comes to Mingo Central and City of Williamson. Wes, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Glad I was able to get through. Fred emailed me earlier and said, you better call in tonight or else. So I knew I couldn't let Fred down back there on the control panel.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime we need anything in Mingo County, basically any part of Mingo County, we give Wes a call or send Wes a message, and it gets taken care of. It's amazing.
He's the voice of Mingo County.
Right, but behind the scenes, the voice of Mingo County, because I'll tell you.
There you go.
Also, he gives us a lot of great video on television that we see a lot sometimes, too. But, all right, Wes, basketball. You were at a big game tonight. And like I said, an historic night for Mingo Central.
Oh, man, I tell you, very, very special night for the school. Great crowd on hand. I tell you, I give credit to the Scott folks that came down. Scott had an awesome following down there at the Fieldhouse. But tell you, fun game, and it was amazing to see how electric this little girls basketball team is down here at Mingo Central. You know, a team that really hasn't been that successful in the first couple of years of the school, and all of a sudden, you know, they're playing they're playing in a regional game at home next week, and like you said, we're one game away from the state tournament now. And I tell you, Coach Clay Campbell, he's very, very proud of their squad, and it's amazing what he's done to turn this program around very quickly.
Well, obviously, we as a group here at the show, we're looking ahead. Next week, Sissonville at Mingo Central for a state tournament berth. But I think right now, gotta enjoy that one a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I tell you, on a personal note here, it's kind of strange to see. I was at the final game played at the Fieldhouse, the final sectional championship, basically for a pre-consolidated school when Williamson won it in 2011, and to be there tonight and see Mingo Central pick back up, whether it was girls or boys, you know, where the basketball legacy down here in Mingo County was left off. It's pretty cool to see the success, you know, coming back to where it was. And we were actually talking tonight down there. Kyle Lovren, the sports editor at the Daily News, and I talking, you know, the last time a girls team of the four consolidated schools made the state tournament was 2003. Birch Bulldogs made it up to Charleston. So, you know, there's been quite an absence for any of the four schools to make it up there. So it's kind of neat to see this team is so close, and hopefully the girls, you know, they take that to heart when they play against Sissonville Wednesday night.
You know, Wes, we've been talking about some of the venues, but the Williamson Fieldhouse, a ton of history over the years. And I know you've been on your social media talking about trophies and stuff from some of the schools and so forth, but just a rich history of basketball from Williamson.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's amazing. We've actually, in the last year, tried to compile the entire basketball history, state tournament history of all the boys' teams in Mingo County, you know, from Kermit to Chatteroy, Liberty, Williamson, Birch, Gilbert, all of them. And it's been amazing to uncover some of these games that kind of have been forgotten, these teams that went, you know, incredible records and stuff. And, you know, when you walk into the field house down there and you see the banners hanging up and everything, it's quite a sight. And really, for a lot of teams, of course, there's not as many games there now, but for a lot of teams going in there, it's kind of a harder venue to play in because it's kind of like the Civic Center. You know, you got a lot of open space, and you get in there and try and hit, you know, deeper shots, and it kind of throws you off where it's so big.
Well, Wes is a Mingo Central team that has now won 7 of its last 8 games, but the one blemish in that was a 16-point loss to Sissonville. So big things coming up for this ball club, but tonight they turned what had been a 13-point loss to Scott back on January 21st into a 16-point win. So Mingo Central peaking at the right time. Hey, one game for a chance to go to Charleston. I know that Minor Mountain's going to be rocking on I guess that's a Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell you, the excitement is funny after the game. A lot of the fans, of course, on the court walking around and talking, and it's kind of funny for some of these people. They haven't experienced a regional game in a very long time, so they're like, man, Wednesday night we got to tell Ma, Pa, and the brother to be at the game. Everybody's gonna come out, and it's there's something to do down here now, so to speak. And even just real quick, looking at the box score, the fourth quarter. 24 points. That's a huge, finish. And not picking on our boys, but I think the Mingo Central boys team could learn a thing from the girls' performance tonight.
Hey,
seriously,
Wes, Coach Marone here, and I would have loved to have been down there in Williamson, but thanks to your Miners, we got put out Wednesday night. But I tell you the thing that really caught us, and they beat us several times this year, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it, is they have got a lot more depth and a lot more weapons, I think, than people realize. I mean, Ashley Curry gets a lot of publicity. Hannah Church has been a great perimeter shooter, but when you've got Hammond and Rhodes and Joplin has been a consistent player. Coach Campbell has – it's not a one- or two-player team. They are legitimately a team, and they have a lot of girls that can pick up and carry the load, and you've seen them a lot this year. Is that – kind of the thing that you see that makes them maybe special is if you shut down one person. We held Curry to 2 points Wednesday, and we still couldn't get it done. They had other girls pick up and carry the load.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's a very unique thing for them as having so many, and previously, not picking on some of our teams down here, but previously it's kind of been a one girl or one guy show. And man, like you said, you're looking at, and even tonight, Church had 20 points, Joplin 17, Rhodes put in 11, and actually Ashley Curry only had 5 points tonight. So again they contained her pretty well, like you guys did. But man, having those three variables there, and Church had 2 3-pointers, as did Joplin, and Hammond also had 2 3-pointers as well. So I mean, the depth, like you said, it's incredible that they can step up like they have. And really, you look at Kiera Hammond. Her confidence has gotten built up really well the last 3 games, and I'd say she went from not shooting the ball as much to, I think at the last game she had 5 3-pointers, and that's pretty incredible for a girls' game, especially in tournament time.
Hammond, Joplin, all those names familiar down in Mingo County if you've ever followed sports down there. And Wes Wilson, if you ever need, obviously anybody, if you have to go to Mingo County for anything, get a hold of Wes. He'll take care of you. Wes, we always appreciate it, and we got to keep moving on. But good to hear from you.
No problem. Appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
All right, that's Wes Wilson. Take care, buddy. And moving right along, Chris Kidd, WVOW. And Chris, the Chapmanville Regional Tigers, getting the number 1 seed in the boys sectional coming up this week at the Logan Fieldhouse. The girls, unfortunately for them, were a 1 seed and didn't get out of the first round. And now the boys, hoping obviously that they don't have the same situation befall them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good week starting out there with the seeds coming out on both ends, and it was unfortunate what happened to the girls over there on Wednesday night. We were actually in Man, West Virginia, doing Chapmanville and Man on Wednesday night, and I was trying to get score updates. I just wasn't able to, and then I started to see some of the cheerleaders from Chapmanville filter into Man's Gymnasium, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess the game's over. And then we went over afterwards and found out that they had lost to Scott, and we were all kind of taken aback by it at first. And then you start to hear kind of the way that the game went and how, just the girls didn't really seem like they had the right stuff that night. And, you talk about the snow, you talk about the layoff, but at the same time, every team was going through it. But it was really a shame for the 3 seniors, Hillary Hayner, Cody Conley, and Kimberly Lambert, who really put in just everything they had over the last 4 years that they weren't able to experience a chance to go back and play at the Civic Center or get a chance to play in the Civic Center for the first time. But, that's just that's the way Scott's been for the Chapmanville Lady Tigers for for quite some time now, that's just been a roadblock. Even though they beat them twice in the regular season, just they haven't been able to get over it in tournament time. But, congratulations to Mingo Central's girls. I mean, they've put together a really solid season, and to come away now sectional champs, we wish them the best of luck next week. But, you talk about the boys now on the other side of the draw. I know that was going to be a tight contest to see who was going to be 1, 2, and 3 in that part, with Mingo Central, Scott, and Chapmanville for the boys. And I really think that a lot of it came down to that last game that Chapmanville had at Mingo Central back on February 12th, or 13th rather, where Chapmanville won 43-40. And you look at the sectional head-to-heads, Chapmanville was 7-1 against their sectional foes. In the situation, the only loss they had was by 4 to Scott at Scott. And yes, Scott had a better regular season record. Yes, Mingo Central had a better regular season record. But those head-to-heads, I think, did play a big difference down the stretch. And it's hard to argue going 7-1 against that type of competition. And even Wayne and Tulsa have started to show how tough they can be down the stretch as well, because that's going to be a more difficult game than I think a lot of people anticipate on Monday night at 6:30 against either Wayne or Tulsa, because those are two teams that, despite their records, have shown that they can be very competitive and also can be very tricky to try and go up against.
Well, that's a situation where basically neither team from Saturday is going to get to practice formally before they play Monday, and that'll be a trick for that. But that's part of the advantage of being a 1 seed versus being a 4 or 5 seed. And I think that is all handled really well. Hey, Chris, we are really backed up on calls, but definitely hope to be talking with you next week about Chapmanville Regional. We wish the Tigers the best of luck this upcoming week.
Oh, definitely. I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, that's Chris Kidd, WVOW. We've got to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we're going to roll through several calls, as well as have our special correspondent, Andrew Harrison, with our standout athlete of the week this week. We'll talk about that and have a scoreboard update. Rick Kozlowski, Martinsburg Journal, resident referee Bo Anderson, T.G. Griffith of WYAP, Madison Morris coming up from Spring Valley High School.
Scott James is in the bullpen from St. Albans. Big win tonight. Ryan, you got your work cut out.
Yeah, we've only got an hour and a half of show left, so we're going to have to go to a break right now. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
All right, Basketball Friday.
Okay, now that was just weird. If you want to call us, we're having some technical challenges tonight with the 800 number, but you can call us on our direct number. The direct number to call Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554. Join us online. Vote in this week's poll. We want to hear from you. You've got till 11:45 tonight. The question is, should coaches be allowed to vote for all teams in their region or for sectional seeding? Yes, they should, or no, they shouldn't. We're trying to find out if Coach Marone should really have a vote or not tonight. Once again, if you want to reach the show, call us direct. Toll-free number not working tonight, 646-929-1554. 646-929-1554. Streaming video from the studios at Marshall University. Visit basketballnight.com for video, audio, and the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. Watch our live high-definition video stream by going to basketballnight.com. It just takes one click to watch. Listen online with any computer or mobile device by clicking the Listen Live tab. Become part of the Basketball Friday Night family. We'd like for you to become our correspondent. Update us on your team's games and the game schedule. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup, and call the show tonight. 646-929-1554, 646-929-1554. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
10:34 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. I'm Ryan Epling, Rick Marone with us, Joe Linville with us with us tonight as James Collier is in Columbia, South Carolina. We hope to hear from him in the final hour. I'm talking fast for really no reason because talking fast isn't going to get me through this any quicker, but we've got a lot to do and not much time to do it. We'll get a scoreboard update for you in just a moment from the boys' games tonight as well as the girls' sectional play, and we'll have the matchups upcoming for the girls' regional and the state tournament play-in games. But Andrew Harrison, our special correspondent with our Standout Athlete of the Week, joins us. Andrew, who is our Standout Athlete of the Week this week?
This week's Standout Athlete of the Week is Fairmont Seniors Emily Stoller.
All right, tell me about Emily Stoller.
Emily, she has a 4.1 GPA. She's does very well in the classroom, but she's also part of the National Honor Society and the Mu Alpha Theta Society, which is a mathematics society which has over 100,000 students that are part of it and reaches over 2,000 schools. She also is someone who, with that society, takes her IQ from the classroom as well, and you know, Ryan, she also puts it on the basketball court as well, and she's able to, since 5th grade, has always wanted to play on the collegiate Division I level, and she'll get to do so with Cleveland State.
As the Cleveland State signee, the Polar Bears 21-2 this season, and they've won 20 in a row. They've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, she is an excellent part of that as part of a duo down there at Fairmont Senior, really doing well, and she hopes to do so on the collegiate level.
Well, Andrew, always appreciate you joining us, and congratulations to Emily Stowe for our Standout Athlete of the Week.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Ryan.
All right, Rick Marone's in with a check of our BasketballFridayNight.com scoreboard.
Looking for scores? Look no more. Jump on to basketballnight.com. Scoreboard bus. It's pulling out of the station. Feel free to buy a ticket and jump on board. Let's start in girls tournament action tonight in Class A Region 1. Wheeling Central 57, Magnolia 40. Class A Region 1 Class AA, Ravenswood 63, Roane County 52. Fairmont Senior, we just talked about Emily Stoller. Her Polar Bears roll over North Marion in a 2-versus-3 matchup. 78-52, Fairmont Senior claims the sectional championship. Parkersburg South 59, Parkersburg 46, Class AAA, Region 1. All the following are Region 2 scores. Class AA, Lincoln 50, Bridgeport 31, Tucker County 54, Notre Dame 28. Pocahontas County gets a 34-point win over Pendleton County in Class A sectional action. Kaiser comes back from an early deficit. They roll 56-42 over Frankfort. Martinsburg 43, Jefferson 41. Martinsburg, the Lady Bulldogs claim the Class AAA sectional championship. Buchanan Upshur 39-38 winners over Hampshire. Hampshire will travel to Martinsburg for regionals. Jefferson will travel to Buchanan Upshur. Region 3 action tonight. South Charleston trailed early to Capital. They come back and get a 19-point win over the Lady Cougars, 52-33 in Class AAA sectional action. Fayetteville claims the Class A championship in Region 3, 65-47. Greenbrier East, a 20-point win over Princeton on March 3rd. Capital will travel to Greenbrier East, and caution, Will Robinson a couple years ago, a Capital team with a less than 500 record went into Lewisburg, upset Greenbrier East. We'll see if the Lady Cougars can do that again. Princeton at South Charleston in the other half of that Region 3 matchup. Region 4 matchups tonight, sectional finals. St. Joe rolls over Charleston Catholic 62-28. Scott falls to Mingo Central. The Lady Miners claim their first sectional championship in school history. They get to host Sissonville on Wednesday night. Scott punches their ticket to Clay County to take on Mackenzie Barker and her teammates. St. Albans, a 49-43 win over Hurricane tonight. They will host Huntington next week, a big matchup for the Red Dragons. And Scott James trying to guide his first team to the state tournament. Seen him a lot on the stat row down there. I know he'd much rather be out on the big show. We'll see how Coach James can do Tuesday night against Huntington High. Williamstown wins 67-54 over Gilmer County. Clay County, we mentioned that. Mackenzie Barker leads them, a huge night for the All-State Guard. 52-48 win over Sissonville in Clay. Spring Valley gets a 75-51 win over Huntington. They'll host Hurricane on Tuesday night. Later in the show, we'll have all those regional matchups for you in girls basketball. On the boys' side, Frankfort defeats Bishop Walsh out of Maryland 54-45. Wesley Christian, a 3-point win over Tug Valley 49-46. 76-39, Winfield rolls over Point Pleasant. Poca The perfect season continues. The lone perfect team gets a 63-37 win over Charleston Catholic. Pikeview 59, Shady Spring 56. Lincoln County, a much improved Panther team this year, gets a 72-58 win over Nitro. Summers County goes to overtime. They beat Independence 57-56. Preston upsets Bridgeport. The Indians staggering a bit here late in the season. They fall 72-69 to the Knights. And Greenbrier East in the Businessman Special 66-38 win over the Wayne Pioneers. And the bus is heading back for Wayne and Ryan. It'll take a short pit stop, and we'll be in Logan tomorrow night for a sectional tournament game. That's a look at your basketballnight.com scoreboard bus as we ease back into the station here at WMUL.
Speaking of a bus, talking about one of those girls' regional matchups now. Jefferson will go to Buchanan Upshur. That's a 3-hour, 30-minute drive. That's a bus trip.
Throw the softball.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it later tonight. I've got issues there. I don't have Bo Anderson to punch on just yet, but the SSAC will do. There's some issues with that will be a school night, and they will have to make that trip, and it's a long way on a Tuesday night.
Get out there Tuesday, get back home, and go to school Wednesday morning.
It's a long trip on Friday night, much less during the week.
There's some issues there. It's been discussed, but we've got a backlog of callers.
Yeah,
we can't go there right now.
Let's go to T.G. Griffith, WYAP, Clay County. The Clay County girls beat Sissonville tonight, 52-48. T.G., Clay County, going to host a regional game, a state tournament play-in.
Yes, they will, and I tell you, it was just a terrific game tonight. The place was jam-packed. Clay County prevailing 52-48. And the Lady Panthers jumped out early, led by 12 in the first quarter, and that turned out to be the largest lead of the game. Sissonville got good shots, but they were ice cold. They couldn't throw the ball in Elk River, and but they just kept hanging around. I knew they were going to get hot sooner or later. And I'm going to talk about Mackenzie Barker at the end of this a little bit, but she got hit midway through the first quarter in a scrambled for a rebound and got her nose hit, and she went straight to the locker room, and she was in there probably for 5 or 6 minutes of the game. There was like 9 people working on her. Couldn't get the bleeding stopped. But I'm going to finish up with her in just a little bit. Clay County able to maintain an 8-9 point lead there while she was out. Finally, Sissonville got it down to 7 but at halftime, but they'd cut it to 3 or 4, and Clay County threw a 1-2-2 zone press that they weren't ready for, and like their next 6 possessions, they turned the ball over 5 times. So that kept us in the running. We were ahead by 7 at halftime. Coming out third quarter, and Madison Jones got hot, hit about 3 threes in a row, and cut the lead to 3 and 4 points. And every time Clay County would make a run out to 8 or 9, Sissonville would come right back. Then Carly Pinkerton got hit hot, and she hit 3 threes, I think, and got the lead down to 2 in the fourth quarter with about 2 minutes to go. Clay County out-rebounded Sissonville by 22 or 23 rebounds. But they had a chance at the end, and they had to start fouling. And Mackenzie Barker scored 7 of the last 8 points from a free throw line to kind of put the ball game away. And Sissonville really didn't get much help from the rest of the players. Pinkerton and Jones accounted for 35 of their 48 points. Michaela Jones did contribute 9 there. But Clay County had 7 players in the scoring column. And I want to tell you something. I have done basketball it's my 19th year doing high school basketball. And I have never seen an effort like Mackenzie Barker gave. Now, not just points-wise, but when she came back, her nose was packed, and she'd go out and play 2 or 3 minutes, I mean hard, and she'd have to come off the floor. Her nose would start bleeding. They'd have to repack it. And then it got so she was having trouble breathing. But she took over that ball game. Now she scored. My stats man said she scored 29. I had 27, but I ran off the paper trying to keep up with all the stats. So he's probably right. But it wasn't necessarily the point. She also had 11 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 assists, and a block. And like I said, she was 8 out of 9 from the free throw line, and that's what sealed the victory basically for Clay County. But she played. She's just like a prize fighter. got knocked down and went to the corner and fixed her up as best she could, and she went right back out and did her thing.
Sometimes I think the girls are tougher
I'm
than
telling you,
the guys.
the next level, somebody's going to get a terrific basketball player. And she just did whatever she needed to do, but under those circumstances, it was amazing. Just a terrific performance.
Absolutely. Now, TG, back on December 12th, Clay County beat Scott 68-45 in Williamstown. And now Scott will make the journey up to Clay next week. I know Scott's playing different than what they were at the time that those two played the first time around.
Right.
But, boy, that should be a great environment up there again.
Yeah. I'll tell you, everybody was just, after the game, everybody just stood around. Everybody was, the players were exhausted, the fans were exhausted, the officials were, everybody. It was just a terrific game. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. TG. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Rick, we didn't get we had scheduled there to play you guys, but fate intervened and we had to cancel those games.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we can do that again next year. But I'll tell you what, I was going to tell Ryan one thing. Mark this down. This may be a redo. I really think both these teams are going to be in Charleston, and it would be really special to see Sissonville and Clay kind of mix it up on the big stage.
Yeah. It was a really good ball game, really was. Hey, just want to run this by you real quick. And so Scott's coming to Clay County Wednesday night for the co-champion for Region 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Boys won 2 out of 3 this week and won an LKC placement game against Wirt County. And Stephen Cole scored his 1,000th point of the season, or of his career. So we got 2 1,000-point scores from Clay County this year.
Outstanding.
Boys,
and they play tomorrow
boys
night.
Go over to Nicholas. Yep, tomorrow night, play the Grizzlies for the Region 4 Section 1 playing game.
All right. ATG, always a pleasure, and look forward to hearing from you again next week.
Okay, guys, thanks.
TG Griffith, WYAP in Clay County. We have to step aside and take a break. We'll come back. We're going to talk with resident referee Bo Anderson, who's already been on hold for 17 and a half minutes. We'll also talk with Rick Kozlowski of the Martinsburg Journal, West McKinney, WAEY, and we're also going to work to get Madison Morris from Spring Valley High School as they make their way back home after winning the sectional championship over Huntington in Logan tonight. That's all when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Congratulations tonight to Emily Stoller, Fairmont Senior. She was chosen as the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week. She and many others have been selected every week. We do it here at Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. If you have someone remarkable on your team or someone that's done something spectacular in your community, does well in school, we'd like to hear about it. Each week, we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, involvement in the community, and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com, and click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the nomination form, and we'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Mountain State's voice for everything high school basketball. Our toll-free number is working now, thanks to all the folks that got that fixed. You can call us toll-free, 1-855-345-4709, 855-345-4709. Follow us on Twitter, too, at @hoops_roundup. At @hoops_roundup. We'll mention you on the air, especially all you new followers. Go to our website. You've got till 11:45 tonight. We want your vote in the poll. Should coaches be allowed to vote for all teams in the region for sectional seeding? Vote yes, they should, or no, they shouldn't. Once again, thanks for joining us here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. High school basketball's home in the Mountain State.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State, you're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
This celebration of basketball in West Virginia continues. 10:49 on this Friday night, February 27th, 2015. Live with you until midnight. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, and Joe Linville all with you here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Again, not a lot of time because even though we've got an hour and 10 minutes left, we've got a lot still to do. And Wes McKinney, WAEY, has been on hold with us now. He will join us on the phone. And West Princeton's girls fall tonight to Greenbrier East, so they will go on the road for the regional. And Princeton's boys getting ready for postseason tournament play as well, and a tall task with Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah, guys, we were so close to Princeton playing a game today. They were scheduled to play Mount View actually at 3 this afternoon, so everyone could go to the girls' game tonight over in Fairleigh, but for the 10th consecutive day, we didn't have school in Mercer County, so that got axed. The guys' game did, but actually before Princeton plays Woodrow on Wednesday night, we're going to have the Mercer County rivalry with Princeton and Bluefield tomorrow night at Princeton, and it will be senior night for Aaron Ferguson and 2 other guys. And, I think it's very important, that they really get that game in tomorrow night and really give Aaron and Ashton Odell and Logan McKinney their moment in the spotlight tomorrow night.
I haven't played in 2 weeks now. You mentioned the lack of school now in Mercer County for 10 days. And, again, their last game was February 13th that they were able to get in. That game tomorrow becomes important, not necessarily from a win-loss standpoint. Obviously, it is because everybody's competitive, but you got to get their legs back under them a little bit before getting into the postseason.
Yeah, got to shake off the rust here, get ready for Woodrow Wilson. But at least on the positive note here, Raleigh County hasn't been in school either, so Woodrow's going to be weary, and I believe they're going to go play Logan tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So Woodrow is going to try to shake off rust tomorrow as well. But like you said, this is a very, very important game for Princeton to get in tomorrow, so they can kind of get their legs back underneath of them, kind of get back in the flow of things, because Princeton went 17, 18 games without having one canceled or postponed, and now they haven't played in 14 days, or I guess tomorrow will make 15 days they haven't played. So you need that continuity this time of year. And right now, Princeton, I'm very interested to see where they are right now, because the last time we saw them, they got absolutely shellacked by Parkersburg. So I'm very interested to see what this team has been able to wipe away from their memory. And really, you could almost say that it's almost, I know the playoffs start, but you can say that tomorrow night really starts the playoffs for Princeton, even though it is Bluefield, because I know that they want to win that game bad just because it is Bluefield, and Bluefield did a number to them earlier in the season.
Short trip on Route 460. For those who aren't familiar, tell me, I know that's the Mercer County, the 2 largest schools in Mercer County in terms of Princeton and Bluefield. Is this a heated rivalry? Is this a respected rival? Is this just a proximity rival? Help me out with that a little bit.
Ryan, I've only been a part of 3 of these now, and I think there's a little bit of heat between the fans. I don't know about the players. I know that there's some exchanges before the game, but outside of that, the game's at 7:30 tomorrow night. I'm going to get there at 6 o'clock. I'm probably going to have to walk a half a mile to get to the gym. But it's going to be a fun environment. It's going to be really probably the best environment Princeton plays in all this year. I know Woodrow has some good crowds, and Greenbrier East has some good crowds, but whenever Princeton and Woodrow get together, they pull out the balcony bleachers, and there's not a place to be had starting at about 6:30, an hour before tip-off tomorrow night. So it should be really fun, and I'm really glad that the 2 schools have figured out a date to get this game in, because we still have 2 feet of snow down here, so maybe it'll be like a downhill skiing match or something before the game.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Always a pleasure, and look forward to hopefully hearing from you again next week, and who knows what will bring us next week.
All right, sounds good, Ryan. Take care, guys.
All right, that's Wes McKinney, WAEY in Princeton. And we'll stick to the phones. And, guys, we've talked about this all week. You heard T.G. Griffith talk about Barker from Clay County and coming back from injury, playing that game despite a busted nose. Madison Morris at Spring Valley and what she has done over the course of the past week, and able to rehab a broken hand and then come back and not only contribute but help lead her team to a sectional championship. She joins us now on the phone. Madison Morris, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, so the drive back from Logan probably not so bad tonight after 2 trips down there from Spring Valley in a week and picking up the win over Logan on Wednesday, and then tonight down by 4 at halftime and then really left Huntington in the dust in the second half. How'd that game play out tonight?
It was just kind of crazy. We started out really slow, and we didn't play good at all in the first half, and then we changed some defense around, and in the second half we just came out strong and didn't get down and just kept pushing to win.
You're part of a senior class that has been very successful at Spring Valley High School. And two years ago, you made it to the semifinals, were the top seed, lost in overtime to Logan in Charleston. Last year, didn't make it, didn't get back, got upset in the opening sectional game by Cabell Midland, but now you're going to get a chance to play at home, chance to go back to the state tournament. Got to be an exciting time for the Wolves right now.
Oh, it is such a blessing. I mean, I've gone through ACL rehab and then my hand rehab, and be able to come back and play with my team and then have that fire in us from last year where we lost in the first round of sectionals. It's just all like coming together, and it's just so amazing.
Well, tell me about some people may not understand. Maddie Morris signed with Marshall, but her dad's footprints are already on the floor. Bruce Morris hit the 89-foot 10-inch shot against Appalachian State. I believe it's 1984 he made that shot. And Maddie, talk about. I know you're still focused with Spring Valley, as you should be, but you got to go up against a future Marshall teammate, Shayna Gore, on Wednesday, and I know that the thoughts of the Division I game have to sort of be creeping in a little bit at this time.
I think, it really sucks whenever I had to play here, and we always hated it, but I'm glad now that it's like officially over, and that was like the last time we had to do it. But we are like so pumped to be able to go into Marshall together and with a few other teammates from our AAU team. It's just so awesome how they got all 4 of us, and we just expect really big things, and we're going to work hard to achieve whatever we can achieve.
Well, this ball club, just tell me about coming back from that hand injury, because I know I heard immediately, broken hand, out for the year. Then I got tipped off last week that you were perhaps planning a kind of a quiet comeback, and even then there was optimism about she'll be back, but not sure exactly how well she'll handle it. And as Coach Gertz mentioned after Wednesday's game, you didn't get tired. I know that had to be a lot of rigorous work to stay in shape and to be ready to play tournament basketball after that hand injury.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't run for maybe like 3 weeks, so I just stayed on the bike and just could do whatever I could do to contribute to a little to my shape. And I played, the NSAC game on last Saturday, and I was glad to have that game to get that underneath me, get some little running in. But I wasn't too happy with the way I played. I was hoping this maybe would work out a little better, and come this week, it all worked out.
Well, now you get Hurricane in a co-regional game, but a state tournament playing game. You get them at home. It's a team that you played earlier this year, won in a close game. Abby Watson, Mary Rogoszewski, that's a team that's right on the cusp of being a state tournament team as well. And just tell me about the matchup and getting to play them at home.
It's always going to be tough, even though we won in regular season. We can't overlook any team. We got to focus each game. So we definitely have to know how to handle Abby and Barry, and just working defense during practice and get a plan to shut them down.
Well, Maddie Morris, first off, congratulations on the sectional tournament championship with the win tonight over Huntington. Glad that you're feeling better. Glad that you were able to get through that hand injury as best as you've been able to this point and continue to play. And I know Bo Miller's probably jumping for joy somewhere right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. That's Madison Morris, Spring Valley senior guard, who, as I just mentioned, led the Lady Wolves, helped lead the Lady Wolves. Because that's a team effort. Cassie Lemons, Sarah Kelly, et cetera, to win that sectional tournament. We've got to step aside and take a break. We'll come back. We'll get a scoreboard. Rick Kozlowski, we'll get to him right after the break as well. And then our resident referee, Bo Anderson. We've got Scott James. 2 hours in the books, 1 jam-packed hour still to go here as Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
High school basketball action in West Virginia is heating up as teams focus on a trip to the state championship in Charleston. Stay up to date with your local team and its progress all season long with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia for 3 hours every Friday night from 9 to midnight. Listen online or on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including Power 92 Radio, 92.3 FM WIRC-LP in Spencer, 97.9 FM WSPW LP Parkersburg, 91.9 FM WRSG Middleburn. Actually, that's 91.5 FM. 106.7 FM WHFI Linside, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM WVOW Logan, 90.7 FM WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM WQAZ-LP Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM WYAP-LP Clay, and 88.1 FM WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers can find Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia in the Huntington area on Comcast Channel 25 and Armstrong Digital Channel 204. Streaming online high-definition video can be found on our website, basketballnight.com, and on affiliate rsnsports.com. Listen online with any computer or mobile device by going to basketballnight.com and click on Listen Live. Join us on the phone tonight, toll-free 855-345-4709, 855-345-4709. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to Basketball Night in West Virginia with James Collier, Coach Rick Marone, and Ryan Epling.
11:02 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, final hour of the program. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, and Joe Linville with you. James Collier with the Marshall softball team in Columbia, South Carolina for this weekend. You don't get to spend the whole week in South Carolina, James. You'll only be there for the weekend. But we've got Rick Kozlowski, the Martinsburg Journal. Bo Anderson's been on hold for over a half hour. We'll talk with him a little bit later on as well. Keep holding, Bo. We know you're there. We'll get to you in a moment, our resident referee. But first, it's time for a check of the basketballnight.com scoreboard. Looking for scores? Look no more. Visit basketballnight.com. We're going to go girls basketball, and we're going to do it by region. Why not? Region 1, section championship game tonight. It was Wheeling Central defeating Magnolia 57-40. So Wheeling Central will host the game next week. Magnolia will be on the road. Class AA, Region 1, sectional tournament finals. Ravenswood beats Roane County 63-52. Fairmont Senior beats North Marion 78-52. So on March 4th, that's coming up on Wednesday night, it will be North Marion at Ravenswood and Roane County at Fairmont Senior with state tournament berths on the line. Class AAA, Parkersburg South defeats Parkersburg 59-46. The Lady Patriots will be at home. The Big Reds will hit the road for Morgantown in the play-in game, most likely. Now, Region 2, Class AA. Lincoln beats Bridgeport 50-31, and Kaiser defeats Frankfort 56-42. So, Wednesday night, Bridgeport will make the trip to Kaiser. Frankfort will make the trip to Shinston to take on Lincoln. They'll just cross Lincoln and, Frankfort and Bridgeport will just kind of cross paths. Going to cross Route 50 there on their way to make that game happen next week. Class Single A in Region 2 tonight. Sectional championship games. Tucker County beats Notre Dame 54-28. Pocahontas County beats Pendleton County 74-40. So next Thursday night, it's Pendleton County at Tucker County. Notre Dame out of Clarksburg will go to Marlinton to take on Pocahontas County. That's a long trip. We'll do the mileage on that one here in a few minutes as well. And that will be for a berth in the state tournament. AAA, Martinsburg beats Jefferson 43-41. And Buchanan Upshur beats Hampshire 39-38. So the regional finals, Hampshire is at Martinsburg. Jefferson will make the 3.5-hour trip to Buchanan Upshur next Tuesday night. Enjoy school on Wednesday, everybody. Region 3, Class AAA. It was South Charleston 52, Capital 33. It was Greenbrier East 59, Princeton 39. So Capital at Greenbrier East, Princeton and South Charleston next week on Tuesday night for state tournament playing games. Class Single A, Region 3. The sectional final, Fayetteville defeats Midland Trail 65-47. Fayetteville will host next week on Thursday. Midland Trail will be on the road. Region 4, Class AAA. St. Albans beats Hurricane tonight 49-43. Scott James' crew will get a home game on Tuesday night. They will play Huntington because Spring Valley beat the Highlanders 75-51 in the Logan Fieldhouse tonight. So Spring Valley will play host to Hurricane coming up on Tuesday night. Also in this Region 4, Class AA, Mingo Central wins its first ever sectional championship. It defeats Scott tonight at the Williamson Fieldhouse 61-45. Also in Class AA, Clay County, big win at home over Sissonville 52-48. So coming up on Wednesday, you have Scott at Clay County. Sissonville goes to Minor Mountain to take on Mingo Central for a berth in the state tournament. And Class A, St. Joe defeats Charleston Catholic 62-28. And it was Williamstown over Gilmer County 67-54. So Thursday night, Class A state tournament playing games. Gilmer at Huntington St. Joe. That's no short trip either. And Charleston Catholic will visit Williamstown. That is the girls' side. Now checking out boys' scores quickly. Frankfort beats Bishop Walsh, Maryland by 9. It was Pendleton County over Petersburg. Wesley Christian beats Tug Valley. Also tonight, Winfield over Point Pleasant. Martinsburg beats Washington. Valley Fayette beats Buffalo. Poca remains the only undefeated team in West Virginia boys basketball action with a 63-37 win over Charleston Catholic. Shady Spring loses to Pikeview. The Panthers get the win in that one. The Panthers of Lincoln County get a win over Nitro. Summers County beats Independence in overtime, 57-56. Preston beats Bridgeport, second straight night that the Indians fall. They were undefeated before last night's loss to Fairmont Senior. Now back-to-back losses as they lose by 3 to Preston. And Greenbrier East defeats Wayne 66-38 tonight in Fairleigh. That is your basketballnight.com scoreboard. We go back to the phones. Rick Kozlowski, Martinsburg Journal, joins us now. It is cause time here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Staying alive through all the snow, ice, and whatever else Mother Nature had to bring. Most of that same snow that fell 2 weeks ago Monday still on the ground. And Rick, all about staying alive this time of year. Martinsburg and Jefferson girls both knew they were going to because of the way of the format. Sectional tournament finalists both go to the regional, but Martinsburg getting a home game and Jefferson will make a long trip to Buchanan Upshur.
Yes, I've been staying alive on the phone about 40 minutes.
Bo Anderson's been on longer. But your minutes have been dying.
How are you guys tonight?
Hey, we're doing great.
Besides overwhelmed by phone calls.
We're doing great, Rick, and we hope you are as well. We've got through the weather. It hasn't been above 40 in 20 days, so other than that, we're good.
Well, we had a couple 40-degree days this week, so I put on a Hawaiian jersey.
Hey, there you go. Hey, the Hawaiian print.
No, I just saw a forecast for ice this weekend.
Why not? You know, we're so fatigued by weather that we don't even care anymore. Honestly, it's like weather, ice, whatever. Sure. 3 inches of snow.
Well, you know,
sure.
March is at hand, and that means spring might be close.
That's the rumor. March will come in like a lion, so hopefully it will go out much more quietly. But hey, basketball, nice game between Martinsburg and Jefferson girls tonight, and that had a lot of impact when it comes to travel for next week.
Yeah, well, it was an extremely competitive game. I don't know that it was well played by either team, but it was back and forth. No more than 3 points, 4 points separated teams, and it came down to a young lady by the name of Kiki Fry, who had tried 2 3-pointers earlier in the final minutes of the game, and only to go away. Martinsburg had a timeout, and while the assistant coach was talking to the whole team, the head coach had Miss Fry almost at center court discussing things. And what he had told her was that maybe she ought to think about taking the basketball a little closer. So when she got the ball in the corner, in this particular case, she drove to the basket, shot a layup, and those 2 points in the final minute decided the ball game.
Fantastic game from a competitive standpoint. I'm sure it was very, postseason games have their own feel. Even though both teams were going to play next week regardless, still that's a big game and a big win for Martinsburg. And for Jefferson, you can't get deflated because you still got a shot to get to the state tournament.
Well, that's true, and I think Martinsburg has been the girls' team for, most of this millennium, and I think a lot there's kind of a psychological barrier that teams have. I think a win would have probably meant more to Jefferson from a mental standpoint than anything else to tell them that yes, we can actually beat the queens of the court on the Eastern Panhandle. Martinsburg, I think, kind of expects to be there because they've been so good for so long. And yeah, no one wants to take that long journey on a Tuesday and then get home about 3, 4 in the morning, get up, have class the next day. That's why I was asking around my staff. I said, "Yeah, who wants to go to Buchanan on Tuesday?" And the eyes just kind of looked at me like, really?
and then you definitely would need them to cover a sectional boys game on Wednesday night, right?
Well, maybe.
Always a lot of fun.
In all likelihood, we'll juggle the schedule around to make it comfortable for everybody. I'm such a nice boss.
Absolutely. I think your employees should always remind you of how nice you are to them. I think they should always be appreciative and let you know at all times. Because you're so nice to us, there's no way that you couldn't be a pleasure to work for, Rick.
Exactly. I appreciate you guys saying that.
Well, so if I ever need a job, I'm going to call Rick. And I've already got the groundwork laid there. He doesn't know if I can write or not because you don't see a lot of my writing, but that's okay. Nonetheless, Rick, though, always a pleasure. I know we kind of wandered off track a little bit, but again, we've got a nice callers here. We've got to go.
Special thanks tonight to all of our affiliates, and those strange sounds were probably coming from some Star Trek episode, I guess. Big thank you to Power 92 Radio, 92.3 FM WIRCLP in Spencer, 97.9 FM WSPW LP Parkersburg, 91.5 FM WRSG Middleburn, 106.7 FM WHFI Linside, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM WVOW in Logan, 90.7 FM WFGH 4K, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM WQAZ LP Edmond Beckley,
Hey, we got
101.7
Wi-Fi back in
FM
here
WYAP LP Clay and 88.1 FM WMU Solar from Fairmont Senior. She was selected as the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week. You've got somebody remarkable on your team, made a great play, did something great in the community, nominate them. Go to basketballnight.com and select Standout Athlete of the Week. Fill out the form and we'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Mountain State's voice for everything high school basketball.
Date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
The sounds of the West, and the three amigos are here. Ryan Epling, Rick Marone, and Joe Linville tonight. Joe filling in for the missing amigo, James Collier, who is in Columbia, South Carolina. Joe,
Beach bum. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
He likes South Carolina very well. He's been down there twice here.
Does that mean every time Joe comes, whoever he replaces gets to go to the beach? Because, I could be open to some sand and sun.
Are you? Well, Rick, you weren't here a couple of weeks ago. No, that is not at all what it means.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Sorry to break the bad news there, but we do have our situations worked out. At least we know what was technically going on. Behind the scenes, we can tell you that it wasn't us. It was the internet.
Cyberspace.
Yeah, that you can't really. When it goes, you can't help it. But nonetheless, Scott James had a big win tonight as St. Albans girls beat Hurricanes. So St. Albans will play at home for a chance to go to the state tournament. They've been knocking on that door for a couple of years now, and they'll try to knock it in with a game against Huntington coming up next week. Scott James joins us now. Coach, congratulations on your sectional championship.
Well, thank you very much, guys. And there earlier, the previous caller, I thought I was listening to a Bee Gees concert.
You never know what you're going to get on this program. We like to appeal to everybody in some form or fashion.
I heard that Bee Gees is from my day, so I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good ball game. I tell you what, Hurricane came in with a great game plan, threw us off offensively, but tonight I told the girls after the game we persevered, so to speak, and pulled out the victory, and move on to Tuesday night hosting I think it is Huntington, and for a state tournament berth.
Well, Coach, you've won 13 out of 14. That's fantastic. One of the hottest teams in AAA. But that one loss was an 18-point loss to Huntington.
Huntington, yes. We went down and played them, and they played very well that night. We didn't play very well at all. Not taking anything from Huntington. They were part of the problem there. But our girls have been finding ways to win. This team, more so than any of the other teams that I've had recently, they're fighters. And they fight to the end, and in most of the cases, they have been finding ways to win. We've had 2 good wins against Spring Valley this year, and our girls just have to believe and have the confidence and go out and play St. Albans basketball, and we'll have a chance Tuesday night.
Coach Marone, thanks for calling and coming on the show. Congratulations again tonight. And, I just want to ask you, as Ryan mentioned, you guys have been knocking on the door, but I tell you, you guys are one of the hottest teams coming down the stretch. You got a huge win over Wyoming East. You beat Spring Valley. You've played a difficult schedule like you always do, and you've got some kids that I'd have to think can feed off of, the last couple of years. You guys have been in position to take that big step, and hopefully they can draw off that experience. But is this probably the hottest team that you've had? As you mentioned, they've been through the wars down the stretch, and that's got to help you out as you get to the regional level.
Yeah, it really has been. And like you said, Rick, we've played an extremely tough schedule, one of the toughest in the state. Our out-of-conference games this year were Morgantown and Greenbrier East. Then we played 3 games down in Charleston, South Carolina, played some quality opponents down there, went 2-1. And then we played 2 games in the Big Atlantic. So, it has to be, in our favor with the tough schedule that we've played. But we've got to go out and we've got to perform on Tuesday. We've got to have the confidence when we walk out of that locker room that we have a chance to win this basketball game. And, we got Huntington last year during the regular season. This year they got the best of us during the regular season. So, I expect a great game on Tuesday.
Coach, to me, and I know you will keep working on it from your perspective as a coach. That's what you do. You just work at it. We who follow can see you're right on the cusp of breaking through that barrier and getting to Charleston, be it next week. It's been a build-up to this. Tell me about taking over this program from where it was and getting it to where it is right now.
Well, the year before, this is my 12th year, and the year before I inherited the program, they were 0-23. And, St. Albans used to be one of the best AAA programs in the state. They won 1 state championship. They were at many state tournaments, and it had fallen upon hard times. And my coaching staff, all are from St. Albans except for one. So we have a vested interest, and we understand what the program was. And when we took the program over, that was our goal, to get this program back to one of the state's top programs in West Virginia. And, I don't think we're there yet, even though we've been a perennial top 10 team the last 2 or 3 years. We have a ways to go. But you're extremely correct in the fact that we are right on the cuff. And, our girls, we remind them every day that the last 2 years we saw 2 visiting teams cut the nets down in our gym. And I hope that's a motivating factor for these girls for this Tuesday.
Well, Scott James and the St. Albans Red Dragons, his girls basketball squad, will have a big game coming up this week. And, Coach, before we let you go, this is kind of a curveball thrown at you, and I apologize for that. We need 1 boys score in all of West Virginia to have every basketball game played tonight to have scores from it. We don't have the St. Albans Cabell Midland boys game. And if anybody that we know would know it, it would be you. You have
I haven't heard, but I will get the score and I will text it to Rick. How's that?
Hey, we greatly appreciate that. And, Coach, we do greatly appreciate you.
I'll get that, and I'll text that to Rick here in the next few minutes.
All right, and our guys in the back are saying no because you can always go to basketballnight.com, and there's a way to send the score there too. But send it to Rick first, and then submit it that way. That way we make sure we get it. Coach, we appreciate it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Hey, you too, and good luck next week as St. Albans and Huntington will do battle for a chance to go to the state tournament. We'll have our standout athlete of the week in a couple of moments, but first, he's been on hold for an hour. Nobody likes to sit on hold for an hour except for our resident referee, Bo Anderson. He joins us now on the program, and that whistle likely is a technical foul on all of us as Bo ready to rock and roll here as it's tournament time for us. It's tournament time for Bo. I know he's fired up about it as well. Bo, welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We hope you've enjoyed listening to the last 55-plus minutes of the show on hold.
Well, doggone it, could you sound another caller so I could have been on hold a little longer? Because I didn't get my record tonight. I wanted that over an hour record, and I didn't get it.
No, we do whatever we can to inconvenience you as much as possible on this program, as you good and well know by now.
I've got a request. I need you, when you introduce me, to make that whistle a little bit louder so that'll wake me up when I take my nap from waiting online so long.
Well, Bo has been an official for 30-plus years now, and I guess, it is kind of late in the evening. And but, no, we definitely appreciate it. As always, postseason brings a lot of intensity, maybe even more so to some games and I know Coach Marone's over here warming up. I'm going to turn him loose on you in one moment, but I do want to ask you a question first off about, from an official standpoint, as a game administrator from the official's role, the amount of contact between a coach and a scoreboard operator or clock keeper, especially when it comes to subs and coaches screaming out sub, hit the horn while his guy's still sitting on the bench.
Yeah, we have problems with that where they're yelling subs before they get to the score table and check in with the official scorekeeper and get to the X. We try to, for the most part, if there's no sub there and we're ready to put the ball in play, they can yell subs to their heart content, but the ball's going to still be put in play. And that's the way it should be. The substitute needs to be at the scores table, ready to come into the game and do so when beckoned into the game by one of the officials. Yes, that is a problem sometimes. Coaches are yelling for sub, and the ball's in play. You're looking around. There's no sub. The other problem with that sometimes is the clock keeper goes ahead and blows the horn. And technically, the players should continue to play and ignore that horn. The problem we have is sometimes the player goes ahead and runs out on the floor, and it causes a total catastrophe, I might say. But, yes, that is a problem. And, we've got to put the ball in play if the sub is not at the table and ready to enter the game.
Well, at what point do you, as an official, say something to the coach? Because I've seen coaches who are just like berating scoreboard operators, and they're the visiting coach, mind you, so it's not like these guys know each other. And, the scoreboard operator hasn't done a thing wrong, and this guy's just going nuts on the sideline in a 20-point game and really making a fool out of himself. At what point does the official step in? Because the scorekeeper, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of like an unofficial fourth or fifth wing of the officiating crew.
Well, obviously your bookkeeper and your clock keeper are very important to the game. And that's really the only thing that I worry about when I'm working a game is how good those two are going to be, because any mistakes they make, we get the blame for.
Right.
So, yes, I would be talking to that coach and telling them, especially if there's no sub, then I would definitely be talking to him and telling him or her, whoever the coach is, that they need to have their sub at the X, ready to be beckoned in, and then we'll get them in the game whenever the time comes. I would not let a coach abuse a clock keeper or a scorekeeper from anywhere, whether it's the home doing it or the visitors doing it. Those people, they don't have an easy job over there either. They make mistakes too. They're human just like we are. And I would definitely be talking to the coach. And then if he can continue, it doesn't matter. We can call on sporting technicals for things like that as well. I mean, it's definitely unsporting. You're not going to treat the scores table that way. And, if you make a scene, then obviously, we have to deal with it.
Bo, one quick one that I was hoping you could share with the listeners. I know during the season there's some things as far as the pregame and the game being administered that are a little bit more loosely administered. And one of those things is when the teams can take the court. When you get into sectional play, regional play, and obviously state tournament play, those rules are really adhered to strictly. And one of the things I know that came up this week at one of the games I was at is there was a big gap in between semifinal games and a sectional, and one of the teams wanted to go out and shoot around a little bit before they actually took the court for the warm-up. That's not permitted. And if you could just share with folks from the official standpoint, when you administer a tournament game, not that you don't do it all year, but the guidelines as far as when teams can actually take the court, when they can start their warm-up, and the things that lead up to the game, because a lot of fans, I don't think, are familiar with that.
Okay, Rick, if you really go by our rules for West Virginia, you are allowed out on the floor to warm up 25 minutes prior to the start of the game. Right. So if the game in regional play, the games are at 7 o'clock, so no one should be warming up until 6:35. They're allowed the 25-minute warm-up. Now, they can do two things. Now, in regionals, they'll usually do one thing. They'll put 20 on the clock, and then when that goes off, the teams are off the floor. They do the national anthem, and when the 5 minutes is done, the introductions, and you're ready to play. Or they can put just straight 25 on there in the regular season, and they can obviously come out, do the warm-up, and then go straight into the introductions and the lineups, whichever they choose to do. But the 20 on and 5 off is just like the state tournament, but you are not allowed to take the court until 25 minutes prior to whatever your scheduled tip-off time is. And that's the rule, and that's what you'll see in the state tournament, and that's what you'll see in these regional games where it is strictly enforced. But it should be enforced all the time. I had a game many years ago where the JV game ended at about 10-7, and a matter of fact, one of the officials was still kind of getting ready in the locker room for us to go out, and I looked out, and there's 2 teams coming out to warm up, and I went out onto the floor and sent them both back to the locker room until the 5-minute after 7 mark. So they would have been out there for almost 40 minutes warming up. I have an opinion myself, and some of the leagues in Ohio are starting to do this. My opinion is, just like these leagues in Ohio, and it works perfectly, you only allow 15 minutes to warm up, do the starting lineups, we play ball. And I would like to see that inserted in the rules. That's just my opinion. I think 25 minutes is entirely too long. Teams go off, come back on, go back off. But that's the case. But 25 minutes is the rule. And I have one more thing that I have seen a little bit of problems with lately. Bookkeepers, the official bookkeeper, must wear a black and white striped shirt or a black and white garment, whether it be something pulled on that kind of looks like the highway safety, but it's black and white. And we've had some difficulties with that a couple of times. And what people don't understand is if we don't enforce that rule, and let's say there's a game sent in and the SSAC sees that, then we get in trouble for not enforcing the fact that the official book should be wearing a striped shirt.
Well, Bo Anderson, our resident referee, always taking his time out to clarify things for us, and we certainly appreciate it, especially come postseason, because you never know what's going to pop up on any given Friday night or during the week either, and Bo's always there to help us, help guide us through it from the official standpoint of how things should go. We definitely appreciate you, Bo.
Hey, anytime, guys. I enjoy the show. Look forward to it again next Friday, and if I end up calling in or whatever I do, work on getting that whistle a little louder so it'll wake me up.
All right. We'll take care of it right there for you. All right. That's our resident referee, Bo Anderson. Right now, we'll step aside, take a break. We'll come back. We'll have a scoreboard, and we'll also hear from Emily Stoller, our standout athlete of the week from Fairmont Senior. That's when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues here on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
High school basketball action in West Virginia is heating up as teams focus on their trip to the state championship in Charleston. Stay up to date with your local teams and their progress all season long with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia for 3 hours. Every Friday night from 9 to midnight. Listen online or on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. Hear sports writers, broadcasters, coaches, players, and your calls recapping your team's game. Visit basketballnight.com for more details on how you can become part of the show. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. @hoops_roundup. You can also call the show tonight toll free. 1-855-345-4709. 855-345-4709. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. @hoops_roundup. You can text the show. Text 304-249-4924. 304-249-4924. Go to our website, check out the scoreboard, and find out how you can connect with the show tonight at basketballnight.com. Shout out to some of the people following us tonight. New follower Michael Perogue. Also, thanks to the Putnam Standard, Macy Queen, Scott Savro, Johnny, Nathan, MTHS Sports, Chad Strauser, Cindy Cooper, and Caitlin Fields. They're following us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup. @hoops_roundup. You're listening to high school's basketball's voice in the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
11:36 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We'll have our standout athlete of the week, Emily Stoller from Fairmont Senior, who's been so kind to hold on with us at this late hour. We'll get her in just a moment. But first, a check of the scoreboard. And that sound means we've got every score of every game played tonight. Joe Linville, he has our check of the basketballnight.com now complete scoreboard.
Look no more. Find your scores at basketballnight.com. Taking a look at the boys' scores first, it was Frankfort winner over Bishop Walsh, Maryland, 54-45. Pendleton County defeated Petersburg 60-52. It was Wesley Christian over Tug Valley 49-46. Winfield defeated Point Pleasant 76-39. And that score we've been looking for all night, we finally got it. Cabell Midland defeated St. Albans 62-45. It was Washington defeated by Martinsburg 69-45. Valley Fayette over Buffalo 53-44. It was the Dots of Polka over Charleston Catholic 63-37. Shady Spring was defeated by Pikeview, that game 59-56. Lincoln County a winner over Nitro 72-58. And a game that went into overtime, Summers County defeated Independence 57-56. Preston defeated Bridgeport 72-69, and Greenbrier East defeated Wayne 66-38. Now let's take a look at girls action from across the state of West Virginia and sectional action tonight. First up, Region 1. In Class Single A, it was Wheeling Central and Magnolia. Wheeling Central taking the win 57-40. In Class AA, Ravenswood defeated Roane County 63-52. Fairmont Senior defeated North Marion 78-52. And in a AAA game in Region 1, it was Parkersburg South over Parkersburg 59-46. Moving on to Region 2. In Class Single A, Tucker County defeated Notre Dame 54-28. Also in Single A, it was Pocahontas County over Pendleton County 74-40. In Class AA, it was Lincoln over Bridgeport 50-31. Also in AA, Kaiser defeated Frankfort 56-42. Moving on to AAA in Region 2, it was Martinsburg over Jefferson 43-41. And Buchanan Upshur defeated Hampshire 39-38. Now to Region 3 in Class Single A. It was Fayetteville over Midland Trail 65-47. Two AAA games in Region 3 tonight. It was South Charleston defeating Capital 52-33. And Greenbrier East defeated Princeton 59-39. In Region 4 in Class Single A, it was St. Joe over Charleston Catholic 62-28. And it was Williamstown over Gilmer County 67-54. In Class AA, it was Mingo Central over the Skyhawks of Scott 61-45. Clay County defeated Sissonville 52-48. In AAA, it was St. Albans over Hurricane 49-43. And it was Huntington falling to Spring Valley 75-51. And that's a look at your basketballnight.com scoreboard.
Thank you very much, as always, Joe Linville. And some big games set up for this coming week. We'll get to those in a moment. But first, our standout athlete of the week this week is Emily Stoller of Fairmont Senior High School. Emily joins us now. She's been kind enough to hold for us for quite a while as we've been trying to get through that log of calls. And Emily, first off, congratulations on the sectional championship win tonight over North Marion.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, your ball club has been one of the best in the state this year. The girls with Fairmont Senior are 21-2 and on a 20-game winning streak. Tell me about this streak that started after a 1-2 start.
Yeah, we started off pretty rough at the beginning with a couple losses, but we seemed to get on our groove and pick it up, and we just haven't stepped off that, and we're really looking good near the end of this season.
Last year you got to Charleston, but lost to Sissonville in the state tournament and in the semifinal round. And you got to play them earlier this year. You got to play them in Sissonville. You went in there and won. And it seemed like really your team just took off after that win early in the season.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough game going in there, but we pulled it together and pulled out that win. We had a burning passion in our hearts from where we went home from states last year, and we just knew that we had to go in there and defeat them this year. So,
well, tell me about this game tonight, because North Marion earlier in the year, looking back through your scores, just back on February 6th, in fact, you beat them 56-55. Then tonight, though, a much more comfortable 26-point win. What was the difference between then and now, just 3 weeks later?
I think the difference was that we were all pretty determined to go out there and do well and pretty much show them that we were the better team. And we just all pulled it together, and we had that burning passion again. Like, I don't know, we just went out there and did our thing tonight.
Emily, Coach Marone here. Congratulations again on being our standout athlete of the week. And I'd like for you, if you would, just talk a little bit. We talked about in the package earlier about you excelling in the classroom. You're involved in some of the organizations there at Fairmont. How difficult is it? I know you have to manage your time, and when you're a Division I athlete that you're going to be as you move on to college, what advice could you give to other student athletes to try and be able to manage your time as well as you do and be an exceptional student and athlete?
I think you just got to find the balance in between both sports and academics, and just do well in the classroom and as well on the court. Just take it from there.
Well, one other thing too. I know last year you talked a little bit about the motivation that your team got from last year going to the state tournament and coming up short. And Caden Whaley and yourself, two seniors there. I know she had an injury last year, and not an excuse, but I mean, you guys had really rolled during the season. You ran into some obstacles there, but having the three seniors that you have on this squad, and to be honest, your sister's there, but you've got some younger players. How has things melded together as you've been on this journey to get to the regional level?
Well, last year, like you said, it was definitely a setback for us, but we're doing great this year, so much better, and we're overcoming that. And we have so many young players that are stepping up for us this year. I think we have like 10 or 11 freshmen that have come in, and every single one of them have played varsity minutes for us so far this season. And we're really young going in, and we're coming together. And like you said, my sister, she was doing awesome for us on the boards, and we got returning players who've seen the state tournament and know what it's like. We have Tyra Horton, Erica Bowles, Caden Whaley, who we went our sophomore year, so she's played varsity minutes down at States, and my sister Abby Stoller, and we have a couple girls that come off and play big minutes for us off the bench, like Colby Thorne and Taylor Toothman, and we're just all coming together as a team right now, and we're looking to go far with this.
Coach Hines, I just want to get your take. He seems like he would be a very fun coach to play for. We've had him on this program earlier this year, and having watched you all play, it really looks like he puts you on situations to where that you can use your natural talent, and you all play such a free-flowing game. He would have to be a fun coach to play for.
Right. Oh yeah, he's definitely a really awesome coach, and I wouldn't want any other high school coach to be my coach. He lets us like be free with how we play. We run a 5-out motion mostly. We have a couple set plays, but yeah, he's been a really good coach, and the defensively he wants us to do good. So that's basically where all of our transition points come from, and yeah.
Well, Emily, great season to this point. I know you guys want a couple more good weeks out of it as well. We wish you the best of luck and congratulations on being our basketballnight.com and Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll step aside, take a break. We'll come back. We'll set forward the matchups for you on the girls' side coming up in the regional round. That's next week. We'll also have our poll question for you for this upcoming week on basketballnight.com as we wrap up another show here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
We want you to become part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll make sure to mention your name tonight, like Darian, RSN Sports Network, Randall, Madison Morris, Jody, and Peter. Thank you very much for sending us all the info on games, and we appreciate you following us on Twitter, @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Special thanks tonight to all of our affiliates. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including Power 92 Radio, 92.3 FM, WYRCLP in Spencer, 97.9 FM, WSPW LP Parkersburg, 91.5 FM, WRSG Middleburn, 106.7 FM, WHFI in Linside, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM, WVOW Logan, 90.7 FM, WFGH Fort Gay, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZLP Edmond, Beckley, 101.7 FM, WYAPLP Clay, and 88.1 FM, WMUL in Huntington. Comcast subscribers can find Basketball Friday Night in Huntington on Comcast Channel 25 and also on Armstrong Digital Channel 204. Streaming online high-definition video can be found on our website, basketballnight.com, and on affiliate rsnsports.com. Listen online with any computer or mobile device by going to basketballnight.com and click on Listen Live. Congratulations tonight to Emily Stoller, Fairmont Senior Standout Athlete of the Week. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Coach Rick Marone, James Collier, and Ryan Epling.
11:49 on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as we start to wind down another program. Boy, again, it is the fastest 3 hours in radio, and that is the truth. You know, this 3 hours will go faster than your trip home, Joe.
It will. It's faster than a Friday night football game, even. You know,
it is. It just flies right along. And guys, as we're right in the thick now of postseason play. Some games that were yesterday that we didn't talk about. Morgantown's girls beat John Marshall to win that sectional. Also, Bluefield beat Pikeview to win a sectional. That's the second year in a row that Bluefield's won that sectional. Now we'll have a home game to go to Charleston.
Well, and I'll tell you what, one big one tomorrow night, if you're going to be in the Summers County area, punch your ticket, get there early because Summers County hosting that sectional. Wyoming East goes into Summers County. And I'll tell you what, Ryan, a lot of people might feel like, well, both those teams are are going to move to the state level anyway. I'm telling you what, whoever loses that game and has to go to Bluefield, not an easy task, and the winner is going to host Pikeview. So tomorrow night, that Region 3 game is going to be something to watch.
Definitely, and I just want to give a quick check of the scores, and what we're going to do here is more or less we're just going to set the matchups upcoming. Again, not all of them are complete, but we're definitely working on that. We'll get this all up on the website for you upcoming as well, and then we'll do our poll question. But first, our matchups from the scoreboard for girls regional play. Magnolia will go on the road on Thursday night, and they'll play the other Region 1 section winner on the road. And that the section loser will go to Wheeling Central on Thursday night in Region 1. In Class AA Region 1, North Marion is at Ravenswood. Roane County is at Fairmont Senior. Both those games Wednesday night. Tuesday night, AAA Parkersburg is at Morgantown. John Marshall at Parkersburg South. The two winners will go to Charleston. Also, in Region 2, again, Tuesday night, Class AAA games. Hampshire at Martinsburg. Jefferson at Buchanan Upshur. That's a 3.5-hour trip from Shenandoah Junction. Can't get over that on a Tuesday night. Then on Wednesday night, Frankfort is at Lincoln. That's a pretty good trip too. And then Bridgeport is at Kaiser. Thursday night, Class Single A, Pendleton County at Tucker County, Notre Dame at Pocahontas County. Winners, again, going to Charleston. Region 3, Fayetteville will host on Thursday. Midland Trail will go on the road on Thursday in their regional games, respectively. In Class AA, Pikeview will go to the winner of tomorrow night, Summers County Wyoming East winner on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, the loser of that Summers County Wyoming East game will go to Bluefield for a regional playing game. Tuesday night, Capital at Greenbrier East in AAA, Princeton at South Charleston. And then Region 4 games, Tuesday night, AAA, Huntington at St. Albans, Hurricane at Spring Valley. State tournament berths on the line there. Class AA, Scott at Clay County, Sissonville at Mingo Central. Winners go to Charleston. And then Thursday, Class A games. Gilmer County is at Huntington St. Joe. Charleston Catholic is at Williamstown. So that's your matchups, or those are your matchups for this upcoming week's regional games. Of course, the boys sectional play gets underway tomorrow, and a lot of games throughout the state there as well. Now, our poll question on basketballnight.com. Last week, we asked, should coaches be allowed to vote for all teams in their region for sectional seeding? That was all teams in the region, basically, or just the teams within their section. 52% said no, they should not be able to vote for the entire region for sectional seeding. 48% said yes, they should. The difference was 2 votes. So it's a very split issue. Obviously, and Coach Marone, you're involved in this, and you're with the coaches committee. Is this one of those situations where it's very close, it's much closer than what it used to be to getting your best to Charleston, but maybe there's still a little tweak here or there to kind of iron this system out a little bit?
Well, I can tell you from being on the committee, Coach James from St. Albans also on the committee. There's a great bunch of boys and girls coaches there, and I'm honored to be a part of it. But it does come up pretty much every year that I've been on the committee, and I really think if people look at the rationale behind it, it is a step forward from what we used to have, which was the predetermined as far as the state tournament. There was no voting by coaches. They had no input. And I believe that if people understand, the reason that the region is looked at in the voting is to try and diffuse any manipulation of it. There's also a process where the highest and lowest vote for a team is thrown out. So when you vote in say a 10-team region, you vote on the other 9 teams. You don't seed your own team. You vote 1 to 9. They throw out, once all the ballots are in, your highest and lowest vote. So if somebody threw an off-the-wall vote, it's supposed to minimize that. And I think the thought is if you diffuse it amongst 10 schools, there's less room to manipulate. If you only have 5 teams in a section, for instance, which is common, some have only 4, but if you have 5 and you can't vote for your own team, you're voting 1 to 4 for the other teams. You're going to know those teams better, but unfortunately, everybody doesn't play everybody, even your own section. Now, I think if you here's what I would recommend, and I'm going to recommend in April, is I think that they should very strongly, if they can't require that you play everybody in your section 2 times. And I think that they should go on head-to-head. I think that if you play everybody 2 times, we are fortunate. We're in the same conference with everybody in our section. We requested from the SSAC that we be allowed in our section to go on a 3-tiered criteria. First would be head-to-head within your section. There was 8 games there. And if you have a tie, say somebody split with each other and you have the same sectional record, we wanted to go with our conference record because we're all in the same conference. And then the 3rd tier was your record against teams your class or higher. We asked for that 3. We were told that we cannot deviate from the voting. So even though they said, now you can have a gentleman's agreement, but you can't control the other half of your region. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at. It is being looked at. I don't think it's a perfect system because anytime you have human subjectivity in there, it's the same as college football for years. They were talking about the voting. My personal, I would love to see, and I'll never probably see it in my career, is I would like to see the entire state tournament be looked at like an NCAA-type tournament. There's approximately 45 AA teams. They have a point system in place for football. They have computers that'll do the work, seed the thing 1 to 45, have 8 regional tournaments, eliminate sectionals. Your top 4 teams in that ranking get a number 1 seed in each one. How exciting would it be to be going? Let's say you have 2 teams that are 1 and 2 in the state that are next door to each other. One of them gets shipped to another region as a 1 seed. They can both have a chance to make it. I don't know that it'll ever happen because they like the regional representation, and you might have a strong region that wouldn't allow somebody else to be there. So there's a lot of work to be done.
And like I said, as our poll suggested,
it's split.
It's split. So exactly, a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't. The precise way it's done currently. Alec has our poll question that'll be on basketballnight.com for the next week. Alec.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. This week's poll question is, what should the state policy be for athletic events when the school is canceled for weather with all the crazy weather we've had? Again, that question is, what should the state policy be for athletic events when school is canceled for weather? That poll question will be on the website until 11:45 p.m. next Friday night. Back to you, Ryan.
Thank you very much, Alec. Now, a couple of games tomorrow, again, in girls sectional tournament play. Class A, Region 1. Section 2 is Trinity and Valley Wetzel. They'll play at Doddridge County tomorrow. Wyoming East will host Summers County for the AA Region 3 Section 1 championship. So that will fill out the teams in terms of who plays who in the postseason. But Joe Linville, obviously big thanks to you coming in from Madison. Hour and 15 change trip here to Huntington.
Not bad.
It's
4-lane all the way. So. Hey, it's been great, guys. It's been a quick 3 hours tonight.
Hey, certainly enjoy it. And Coach Barone, always a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Tune in next Friday for the latest high school basketball action from across the Mountain State. Visit our website at basketballnight.com for our poll question, the basketballnight.com scoreboard, and much more. Until next time, have a great weekend, and thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The preceding broadcast was a presentation of the Fast Break Sports Network. Copyright 2015. All rights reserved.